Hi, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the fourth episode of the story about the time when Sasuke gives his sharingan eyes to Naruto on verge death in waves. Let's watch as Naruto Uzumaki, Uchiha takes world by storm. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. The weary old man watched the back of possibly the strongest active ninja in Konoha as he disappeared into the crowded streets. The elder let out a tired sigh before thinking about Kakashi's blonde student and felt an upsurge of pride at how much Naruto has grown recently. The Sun Daime always worried about Naruto's upbringing and welfare. Jinchuriki are generally feared and ostracized by the very populace that they protect, and many are driven insane by their treatment. Sarutobi watched Naruto as he grew and tried to help the boy as much as he could without overextending his power. He was such a quiet child and very intuitive when he was younger. Even when he was 5 years old, Naruto could feel the hatred directed at him by the citizens of the village, and even if he couldn't identify the emotion, he still knew that they thought of him differently. As the boy started to understand, he would cry and apologize to the people while trying to act how he thought a model child should to try and gain love and attention that he coveted, but Naruto never got the recognition that he craved or needed and changed greatly because of it. The child eventually became loud and defiant, determined that the villagers would acknowledge him even if he had to scream in front of them or play childish pranks. Naruto eventually started to lose his sense of self-worth as he continued to fail to gain positive acknowledgement. Everything he did was never good enough, even in school where he tried so hard but never got the help he needed to truly excel. After a couple more years of getting his confidence crushed, he became louder and brasher to deny to everyone, especially himself, that he was a failure and affirm his existence that everyone tried to deny. Despite the cheerful face and upbeat attitude he would show to the villagers, Sarutobi could feel the hate and anger that would roll off the boy in thick waves when they would walk through the village and people would glare when they thought the Hokage couldn't see. The Sun Daime was genuinely worried for a time that the boy would meet the beast and release the seal in a fit of depression or rage, or that the chakra would take over him when he got to push too far and he would be forced to put Naruto down, or perhaps the boy would go rogue. If it wasn't for Iruka, the Ichiraku, and Kakashi's support from the shadows, then who knows what would have happened to his blonde grandson in the future. Instead of giving in to his hatred and anger, Naruto rose up and overcame the odds like he always seemed to do. If nothing else, the boy was a survivor. Now the blonde was growing at an incredible pace under Kakashi's tutelage, and the old man couldn't be prouder. He always wanted to do more for the boy, but to protect the child he had to keep him away from the people who would raise him to shield his existence from his parents' enemies both inside and outside of Konoha. Jiraiya, Kakashi, and several others who knew of his heritage wanted to raise him, and he allowed them to rear Naruto as a baby. But if someone saw a prize student of the Yondaime or his former sensei raising a blue-eyed blonde-haired child, they would have connected the dots. Jiraiya wanted to stay, but in the wake of the Kyuubi attack and the increasing skirmishes with Kumo after the death of the Yondaime, his spy network was valuable for gathering knowledge of the other villages' movements and spreading misinformation about the attack. Tsunade was too far gone with grief over her deceased lover and brother to properly care for a child, and taking care of her broken mentor was more than enough responsibility for Shizune. The options after the attack were limited, and he tried the best he could with what he had, but a Hokage's word was not law despite Konoha being a military dictatorship. After the Kyuubi and Gamabunta disappeared, the Sun Daime led a force with just over 100 elite ninja to the last known location of the beast. Still repressing the grief from his wife's death, the old ninja almost broke into tears at the sight before him. Minato had his arms wrapped around his wife as she breathed her last while cradling the child into her bosom. It was one of the most tragic sights that he had ever witnessed in his long life. Two of Konoha's strongest ninja and the beacons that would lead it into a brighter future were lying on the destroyed earth, still and unmoving, while holding their crying child who was now an orphan destined to an unimaginably hard life. To make it worse, the Shiki Fuujin was still fresh on Naruto's stomach, and the seal was glowing a bright orange and red as it finished trapping the Kyuubi's power into the child's body. The Sun Daime could do nothing to hide the truth anymore, and the dirty little secret of the Uzumaki in Konoha was finally out. After 100 years, people knew that the village hidden in the leaves housed a Jinchuriki. In an ideal world, it would be Naruto's children that would hold the Kyuubi when Kushina was ready to pass on. But now there was nothing the Sun Daime could do to cover up that Konoha possessed a Jinchuriki for the strongest tailed beast. Despite claiming that it was an S-rank secret to the gathered shinobi, the word got out, and the Hokage had to make an official law only days after the attack, making it illegal to talk about the sealing. The law wasn't taken serious until he executed upwards of 50 citizens and impaled their bodies on wooden pikes in strategic points throughout Konoha. After that, nobody dared speak the secret in public, and even in their homes the people would whisper it. Now though, Naruto was shining under Kakashi's tutelage and his future looked bright. No longer is he the insecure child that would yell about being Hokage to make himself feel better. Now Naruto is a proud young ninja of Konoha and growing more physically and mentally nearly every day. Hopefully Naruto can rise to the occasion during the Chunin exams. It may be about time to recall Jiraiya and reveal his history. I just hope that he can forgive an old man for lying and hiding his past from him. The old cage was broken from his musing by his secretary buzzing him saying there was a message for him. Just as he pressed the button confirming he was ready, the doors flew open and a young brown-haired Chunin burst in holding a scroll wrapped so tightly in his hand that his knuckles were wide. Hokage-sama, we have just received a message from Suna bearing the cage seal. The Sandaime was given the scroll by the Chunin before he dismissing the boy, and bending over he popped a secret compartment in his old oak desk made by the Sharingan himself. Pulling his hand back out, the current Hokage revealed a smooth black stone with an intricate carving on one side. Placing the carved end into the depression in the scroll's lock, he watched as it popped open and fell off of the scroll before he opened it and began reading. Sandaime Hokage Dono, it is with great pain that I write you to ask this. As you know, Suna is a proud nation and doesn't ask for favors lightly, and if you will agree to my proposal, I promise that it will benefit your village in the long run. Sunagakure is in dire straits. During this long peacetime, the daimyo has seen fit to cut funding to the village, and because our mission price had to rise, he started sending more and more missions to Danagakure along with recommending the same to other clients. We are slowly rotting from the inside out and I need to do something desperate to preserve my people's future. This is my second to last option and I ask that you carefully consider my proposal. Suna would like to ask if we could rotate the Chunin exam schedule so this year's spring exam is in Sunagakure and the fall one will be in Konohagakure. We are in a dreadful situation and we must impress our foolish lord while raising funds. I await your response, Lord Hokage, and would like to talk about strengthening our alliance down the line. Namikaze Kage, as he finished reading, the Sandaime thought back to ponder what he just learned. This is a surprise indeed, the proudest of Kage asking for help and openly admit weakness. It is an interesting offer though. There is no reason that we cannot wait another 6 months for the exam, in fact that could work in our favor. It is during the fall season that Konoha has the most tourists to watch the leaves change color. There is the potential to make quite a tidy profit as well as make our village look like a better ally to the ninja of Suna. Perhaps it would be the best decision in the long run for the village, but I'll need to do a lot of work to prepare and notify all the attendees. Then I'll have to rank the Junon teams. According to the budget we set aside for the Suna exams, we only have enough to send 10 teams, their sensei, and a chaperone. I should schedule a meeting with Koharu and Homura. Reaching forward to the red button on his desk, the Sandaime pressed it and asked his secretary, Ami-chan, can you get me a Viki, Yuigao, and Tenzo please? Hearing her positive reply, the old cage leaned back before lighting his pipe and pulling out the unpublished version of Jiraiya's next work. Oh my student, you have outdone yourself this time. Naruto was lying on his surprisingly comfortable bed in his apartment fiddling with his hair. His blonde locks have grown considerably since he became a Junon, just like his ninja skills. Sakura even said it doesn't look like he had a yellow sea urchin on his head, and he decided to take that as a compliment. Pulling down one of his bangs, Naruto noted that when he pulled the unruly strand of yellow down, it just reached above his eyebrow. Looking around at his room, Naruto began to understand that an orphan, not to mention hated demon container, shouldn't be able to have such a nice apartment and heavenly bed as his mind began to race again. I'm surprised that I don't live in an abandoned warehouse getting by on the skin of my teeth. I always thought Oji-chan paid for me, but it was probably some sort of inheritance from my parents. I need to go back and visit the old goat soon because he really didn't tell me much. I know my mom's name was Kushina and is a member of the Uzumaki clan that was skilled with Suten, Fuyu and Jutsu, and was wiped out. Gigi also said I reminded him of her from time to time, but I didn't want to act like that. So does that mean mom didn't have a good life either? I wonder what she looked like, or what kind of ninja she was. At least now I know that my parents didn't abandon me like I used to think. I need to find out more about them. Maybe I can find someone that knew my mom and get them to slip up and drop a clue about my dad. Looking out his window at the Hokage monument, Naruto focused in on the Yondaime. Why did you pick me? Did you know my parents, or was I just the closest baby? Man, I need to get over it. At least I know who my mom is now, and that's something. Now I can look around and find something out about her, but it doesn't change anything down in the long run. I still need to keep training to get stronger and become Hokage. Nothing is going to bring my mom back. Naruto would have stayed in his bed with his thoughts if he didn't hear his someone banging on his door. Trudging through his dark apartment, Naruto opened the door before it was blown off its hinges, and much to his surprise, Sakura was standing on the other side wearing a plain white skirt and red sleeveless blouse and giving him a smile that made his stomach do flips. Hey Naruto, did you eat yet? I just got done taking a shower and found a note that my mom is going to be out of town for a little over a week and my fridge is empty, so let's go out for some food. We can even go to the Ichiraku ramen stand. Naruto was about to turn down his teammate not even in the mood for ramen when his stomach rumbled. Blushing, he sheepishly rubbed the back of his head and decided to try to put the depressing subject off his mind while enjoying the food of the gods with his crush. Sure Sakura-chan, just let me change and shower, I've had a lot on my mind. Sakura's face got even cuter somehow as her nose scrunched up in disgust after smelling him. Getting pushed into his room, Naruto listened his teammate gently scold him, hurry up, I'm hungry and I haven't seen Teuchi-san or Ayame-chan in ages. After Naruto showered and changed into some blue shorts and a black t-shirt, the two set off towards the ramen stand, and it didn't take long for Sakura observed her teammate. I wonder why he's being so quiet and not jumping around like the time he accidentally drugged us both with a hallucinogenic poison. Through it's not that he has been as hyperactive as he used to be, but his usual bounce is gone. Naruto, what's wrong? Is it something the Hokage told you? Looking at his crush, Naruto tried his best to muster a smile and he managed to plaster his fake grin on his face before replying, Nah, I'm fine Sakura-chan, I'm just going over the mission in my head. I can't believe that the village got torn apart like that and we couldn't do anything. Naruto was sure that his usual happy front and answer was perfect, so he was surprised when the pink cat frowned at him and said, Don't lie to me like that Naruto, you were angry about that but you understood why it happened. No, you and Kaka-sensei stayed behind to talk to the Hokage and now you're acting all gloomy like Sasuke used to. Managing a sad smile at her joke, Naruto looked into Sakura's green eyes and was surprised at the amount of hurt that he saw there. I'm sorry Sakura-chan, I'll tell you when we get to Ichiraku. The rest of the walk was spent in a comfortable silence before the two arrived and were greeted warmly by the stand workers. Sakura was initially treated frostily by the duo, probably because they heard of her constant abuse of Naruto in the academy, but after talking to the two and seeing how she genuinely seemed remorseful for her past treatment of the blonde, they quickly warmed up to her. Ayame would dote on Sakura, telling her how cute she was with her pink hair, and the pair would constantly tease the Genon, tinting their faces red. After a couple visits to the homie stand, Sakura understood why Naruto loved ramen so much. The two shinobi were once again subjected to teasing as they told the story about their mission, while the only other customer quickly finished his ramen, and gave Naruto a dirty look before he left quickly. After they were alone, Naruto turned to the stand workers, Hey guys, could you close down the stand? I have something I want to talk to you and Sakura about. Teuchi got a concerned look as he stared at Naruto before answering, Sure kiddo, just let me drop the blinds and put the break sign out. After the man returned, Naruto turned to Sakura before taking a deep breath and exhaling slowly, Sakura-chan, you remember about how that Suin guy said that Taki joined in the slaughter of the Uzumaki clan? Sakura looked curious as Teuchi's eyes widened and Ayame appeared confused. Yeah, are you related to them Naruto? Looking at the ground, Naruto answered, Yeah, and I found out a little about my family from the old man when we got back. Pausing to notice Teuchi's gasp, Naruto looked at him suspiciously, Did you know my family Teuchi-san? Letting loose a tired sigh, the man looked guiltily at the blonde. Yes Naruto, I know your family, but Sandaime Hokage-sama said that I couldn't tell you until you asked me about one of them specifically, so I'm assuming he told you about your mom. Naruto looked at the man and cursed, Damn it, I was hoping I could get you to tell me about my dad too. Yeah, he told me about my mom Uzumaki Kushina, but how do you know her, old man? You were never a ninja? Actually, I was a long time ago Naruto, but I got hit with a technique in my right arm that acts up occasionally and causes me great pain when it does, so I had to retire. Remember, a ninja should never assume anything, but that's not how I knew her. I was a decent Chunin, but she was one of the true elite of the village. Kushina was believed to be among the strongest in her generation shinobi or kunoichi. No, I knew her because she loved ramen almost as much as you. In fact, when I first met you I knew that the two of you had to be related. She disappeared for 9 months and then you showed up a couple of years after she died and devoured ramen just like she used to. Sakura giggled at hearing that and the surprised look on Naruto's face. I guess love of ramen must be a clan trait, ni Naruto? Letting a real smile on his face, Naruto actually got to laugh. Hey old man, tell me more about my mom. Getting a grandfatherly smile, the man continued, When I first opened my stand I had a large line that stretched down the street. Most shinobi heard that I was forced to retire because of an injury and came to show me some support. There was a long wait to even get seated because of all the people that showed up, and I was so busy that I actually had to hire a Genon team to help me. Well, your mom heard that there was a new ramen stand in town, so she literally dragged her future husband, your father, through the line that went all the way down the street and around the corner, shoving anybody in her path out of the way. After cutting everybody in line, she promptly removed 2 people from their seats before ordering a bowl of salt ramen. After tasting it, she literally cleared out my remaining stock in that one sitting. You see, people let her go through because she could be one of the most terrifying people you've ever seen and was well known for her short spurts of extreme violence when set off. Naruto glanced at Sakura out of the corner of his eye when Teuchi stopped and shuddered as he remembered one event during pregnancy when he didn't have all the ingredients to make her order a veal and beef ramen. Luckily he wasn't that out of shape and was able to escape before it got to bad, leaving the Yondaime to deal with her temper. She was known in the Yokai Chizio no Habanero, red hot-blooded habanero, because of her incredibly fiery temper. Sometimes you remind me so much of her with your zeal for life, incredible determination, and your verbal tick, she used to say. Bane all the time. Naruto had his head down and you couldn't see his face before he suddenly leapt over the counter, giving the man a bear hug before Ayame walked over and embraced him too. Sakura could only smile at the scene. Naruto, your family may be gone, but you have lots of people that care about you now, so don't let it get you down. Sakura and Naruto had one more bowl while listening to another story before bidding the Ichiraku family goodbye. While walking Sakura home, Naruto turned to her and smiled. Thanks for coming over and taking me out, Sakura-chan, I really needed that. Giving Naruto a smile back, Sakura responded, no problem Naruto, I'm glad that you decided to trust me and tell me about your mom. I want you to know that even if you don't have any family by blood, you have a lot of friends that care about you now, including me. If you're ever feeling down, I don't mind cheering you up because you're always there to encourage me. Stopping at her porch steps, Sakura faced Naruto and appeared to be hesitating. Naruto watched as she looked at him before quickly embracing him in a hug. Besides, your real smile looks way better than that fake one you put on all the time. Sakura turned around and rushed inside before Naruto could see her blush as he just stood there dumbfounded at her doorstep with his face bright red. That was the first time a girl my age ever gave me a hug. Not able to contain himself any longer, Naruto rocketed to the rooftops and rushed home while whooping gleefully as his problems were temporarily forgotten. Kakashi watched as his students fought viciously against his shadow clone and 2 earth clones in a team exercise. It's been 1 week since the mission to Taki and their teamwork rapidly improved after they returned. Sai actually seemed to get along with Naruto and Sakura most of the time, and their coordination only improved because of it, even if the entertainment value wasn't as high all the time. Looking up at the sky upon hearing the screech of a hawk, Kakashi saw the white feathers on its stomach and wondered why Jounin Sensei were being summoned. The exam isn't for nearly 2 months, I wonder why the instructors have a meeting. Oh well, I have a little time still. Kakashi waited till his clones were defeated when Sakura put the shadow clone in a genjutsu and the boys took out the rock clones by restraining them with ink ropes that Sai controlled before a firing brigade of shadow clones launched the Guko at the 2 bound clones, reducing them to rubble. Dismissing his team, Kakashi pulled out his little slice of paradise and began reading and thinking as he walked toward the meeting. It's no use, I can't put it off any longer. It's about time to start giving them individual training. I should buy some Pocky after the meeting before I go talk to her about Sakura. Hopefully she waits until she at least meets Sakura before making a decision. If that works out, I'm sure Danzo can train Sai and I'll work with Naruto until the exams start. Kakashi opened the door to the office to see all eyes on him. Damn, I'm not that late, am I? And I didn't even think of an excuse. Oh man, come on Kakashi, you can do this. Sorry I'm late, but I walked under a ladder and had to retrace my steps, so I didn't have any bad luck. There were a couple of face faults at that. Obviously not up to my usual standards. Addressing the crowd of instructors, the Hokage began. Okay, now that everyone is here, we can start the meeting. The Chunin exams are to be held in 1 month and 3 weeks. However, there is a change of plans. I have been in contact with the Kazekage, and because of some events the exams have been switched, so the spring test is in Sunagakure and the fall one will be in Kanahagakure. There is only enough money to cover the expense of 10 Junon teams, their sensei, and a representative of the Hokage to attend, so we have constructed a list of the top 10 Junon teams that is subject to change until a week and a half before the start of the exams. If a team in the top 10 doesn't wish to attend, then the next highest rank will be offered their chance. Now here are the rankings of the 10 teams on the list at this point from highest to lowest. Ibiki, if you may. Stepping forward, a man wearing a gray collared shirt and matching pants under a black trench coat. He had a black bandana that covered his head adorned with the leaf symbol. He had a small scar on his right cheek and a larger one that extended under his left eye across his cheek and over his lips before it stopped right under the middle of his bottom lip. Stepping forward, the man coughed into his hand before beginning. Okay, starting with the number 1 Shinon squad, Team 9. After hearing the announcement, a man with a glistening bowl cut and green spandex began celebrating and ranting about the power of youth uncontrollably. So guys, team is number 1, that's expected. I wonder who else is in the top 10. We recently had a large amount of Chunin promotions on the field, so the crop might not be fully ripe. Kakashi's train of thought was broken when the man in the green eyesore landed in front of him. Kakashi, my eternal rival. My team is considered the number 1 Shinnon squad in Konoha. I will have to count this as a victory to me for my ability to stoke my students' flames of youth into a raging firestorm. I'm sorry guy, did you say something? Ga, curse your hipness Kakashi. If your team is even ranked, then I challenge you to a contest. Whoever's students advance the farthest is the winner, and if I lose, I will travel from Suna to Konoha on my hands, and if I cannot do that I will climb the monument using only my teeth with a boulder strapped to my back. If I cannot do that I will cartwheel around the village of Konoha 50 times, and if I cannot do that I will learn to sing opera, and if I cannot do that enough guy. Sorry. Hokage Sama lighting the secret chamber in his pipe containing a special blend of herbs. The Hokage coughed a couple times before Ibiki continued, right. Anyway, rank number 2 because of a lack of experience is Team 7, had your team completed more missions Kakashi they would have been ranked top overall. Curse you, my eternal rival, even though your team was struck by tragedy your hipness has allowed them to rise above it. No matter, my pupils are in the springtime of their youth and that shall propel my team toward victory in our challenge. Everybody ignored the eccentric man as Ibiki continued, Team 4, Team 1, Team 13, Team 8, Team 18, Team 10, Team 15, and Team 14. At the announcement the room broke into chaos as one jounin from the back shouted, how is it that the rookie teams are listed above veteran teams? They're green and untested. Ibiki stared at the crowd until he singled the one that talked and fixed him with a glare. The list was personally compiled by the input of myself, the Hokage, and 2 of the top-ranked Onbu captains after observing team training sessions and reading mission reports. We gave missions point values depending on rank and other factors and added them up. The list is valid, so instead of getting angry at me for your team not being adequate, maybe you should work on improving your teaching skills. The Hokage raised his hand, that's enough Ibiki. Though harshly worded, Ibiki speaks the truth. Once every great while there is a generation overloaded with talented ninja, and this is just one such generation. We only counted D-ranked missions up to a certain number, and non-combat C-ranked missions are barely worth more than them. The rookies are incredibly gifted this year and every one of their teams deserves a place on this list. The man stepped back after being reprimanded before another stepped forward. I understand all that, but why is Team 7 ranked number 2? Their sensei may be legendary and a Jinchuriki is on the team, but he hasn't shown any abilities that containers usually manifest and was listed as the Dobi of his year. Kakashi feeling slightly miffed at the doubt and was pleased with the Hokage's response. Yes, Naruto doesn't have any training to control the Kyuubi's chakra and is still one of the most powerful Shinnon. There is already an investigation into the academy to see how someone can go from dead last in his class, almost setting the record for lowest scores and still passing, to one of the strongest overall Shinnon no matter age. But that is besides the point. Kakashi's team has also completed 2 A-ranked missions, so that moved them up the list quite a bit. The room exploded into whispers as the Hokage finished answering. Many ninja were surprised that the Hokage himself would say that. All of them knew that he favored the boy, but their leader wouldn't say something like that without it being true. Most of the Jounin level ninja and around half of the Chunin that were old enough to know Naruto's secret were supportive of him. To hear that the academy may have sabotaged a student's education was unthinkable no matter the circumstances, and meant a large change was coming to the institution. Before he lost total control, the Hokage spoke again. That is all. The list shall be available for all to view in the Jounin lounge and will be updated when needed. Kakashi, could you please stay? After the door closed behind the last ninja, the Hokage addressed Kakashi. I have met with the full advisory council including the guild leaders and clan heads the other day to discuss the information uncovered on your last mission. They have been informed of Taki's fall in their previous Black Ops, and we have agreed to offer no support in rebuilding the village, and have also sent messenger hawks containing their various Black Ops to our other allies. There will be no other hidden village in Taki no Kuni, and a power vacuum has formed in the country leading to an influx of bandits and other rogues. Because of our reputation as the strongest hidden village, the daimyo of Taki has asked that we build several small outposts stocked with enough numbers to complete the mission invoice and keep the underworld in check. We have obviously agreed, and that effort is in the works under the supervision by a committee of the various clans. The other more disconcerting news is that Salamander Hanzo is dead by the hands of a rebel leader who wields an unknown dujutsu. The world is changing once again, Kakashi, and in the ninja world with change comes war. I am an old man, and Konoha needs someone like you who is young and whose legend is growing to lead them through the troubled times ahead. My students are not fit to take the position and past their prime. I want you to take up the mantle of Hokage in the next few years. Kakashi was floored. He had always known that he was a Hokage candidate, but he always believed there were more qualified people than him if the position needed to be filled. Hokage-sama, I am humbled by your offer, but I have to decline. I have lost a couple steps since leaving Anbu and I have to get them back. Besides, I am not a man suited to lead a village. My shoulders cannot handle a responsibility of that magnitude. Seeing the disappointed face on his leader, Kakashi almost changed his mind. Besides, how much time do you get to read Icha? I couldn't handle that. Smiling at that, the Hokage continued, I wish you would reconsider, and if you ever change your mind, the offer is open. However, if you do not wish to take the mantle, then I have another duty that you cannot refuse. I would like you to become my advisor along with Shikaku. You do such a good job hiding your genius behind pornography and apathy that even I forgot your prowess. Well, no more, I cannot allow a resource like that to go untapped. As your first duty, I would like you to stay for my meeting with Iruka involving possible changes in the academy. Kakashi was so upset when he left the Hokage's office that he couldn't even read Icha. Why does my gut always have to be right? More work for Kakashi. Maybe I should have never taken a Jonan team, then it would just be nice relaxing S&A rank missions. Kakashi stopped at the sweet store despite abhorring sugary foods and picked up several boxes of Pocky. He then went to his least favorite place in Konohagakure, the hospital. Kakashi gathered himself before he entered and began walking down a familiar path. It's been years and I can still walk this blindfolded. After getting the end of the hallway, Kakashi looked at the open door and listened to the sound of a pen scribbling. Once again steadying himself, Kakashi knocked on the open door and ignored the scowl marring the beautiful woman's features before beginning. Rin, I know it's been a long time and I shouldn't ask this, but I need a favor. One of my students wants to be a medic nin and she needs someone like you to be her teacher. She has a lot of potential and I know that once you see it that you'll want to help her. Just your rambling, Kakashi. Why should I do any favors for you of all people? I told you I never wanted to see you again, Scarecrow. Please Rin, you never even need to see me, but she is perfect to be a mid-nin and just oozes potential. Please just meet her and see if you're interested in training her. If you do, then every other week she will be yours to train as you see fit and you won't even know I exist. She reminds me of you so much and this team reminds me of our old one, including the tragedy. Please, I want to protect these kids and get them ready so they can take the world head on. The Rin looked down upon hearing the reminder of Team Minato. That's a low blow, Kakashi, bringing Obito into this. Okay, I'll meet her, but if she's not up to par, you're on your own. Allowing an eye smile to form, Kakashi gave her the details. If you are free tomorrow, come to the training grounds after lunch. I'll send Pakun, he misses you. Sakura was on her way to the first individual training session with Rin-sensei. She met the woman a week ago before she offered to train her after a demonstration of Sakura's skills. Flashback: Sakura walked in next to Naruto, who was in between her and Sai, after he asked why she couldn't be pretty and feminine like Kayame. He may be a lot better, but he still needs to get nailed every once in a while. Once Team 7 broke the tree line, they saw a brunette woman standing next to Pakun in the middle of the field. She wore a purple headband and had medium-length brown hair pulled into a ponytail that stopped at her shoulder blades. She had 2 rounded purple stripes on each side of her nose under her eyes, which were a chocolate brown. The stripes were about an inch thick and she had some strange goggles with a green frame and an orange lens around her neck. She was wearing a tight lavender and purple striped long-sleeved shirt that accentuated her C-cup breasts and wore fitted black pants that stopped in the middle of her shins with purple sandals. They followed Kakashi as he approached the woman who was glaring frostily at him. Once the silver-haired man got near the woman, he introduced her to the team. Hey guys, this is Rin, and if you impress her, Sakura, she will be your sensei in medical ninjutsu every other week now that we are doing individual training. Sakura focused in on the brunette as she was getting the once-over. So you're Hatake's Jonan team, and I'm supposed to train Pinky. Fighting down her rising temper at being called Pinky by a stranger, Sakura stepped forward when called. It looks like you use poison weapons. Why don't you show me your different mixes and explain what they do to the body? Complying with the request, she showed her potential tutor the extra vials of poison she keeps in her pack. This one is a paralyzing poison. It works by relaxing all the muscles to the point that they can barely contract. If too much is used, then the heart will stop and death is a result. This is a basic knockout poison that slows the pulse and contains a concentrated amount of tryptophan, causing the target to fall asleep. This poison congeals the target's blood, causing the heart to pump faster till it bursts, and this one increases the rate that the nerves communicate, increasing pain, making it perfect for interrogation. Oh, and this poison uses several natural psychotropic plants to cause hallucination. Looking slightly impressed, the scowling woman continued, okay, not bad. Now I want to see some basic first aid techniques. Blondie, you're the practice dummy. Oi, I'm not a dummy. Shut up, Naruto, and take your jacket and shirt off. The blonde paled at the threatening look on the pinkette's face and was topless faster than even Kakashi could follow. About half an hour later and several different bandaging and splinting techniques, Naruto was unable to move and looked like a mummy. Once again, not bad, but if you want me to take you on as a student then you better impress me here and now. After finishing the sentence she burst into action, suddenly appearing right in front of Sakura before delivering a solid right cross that knocked the girl into the trees. Suddenly several senbon came from the tree line and as Rin blocked them with the flat of her kunai, several pellets exploded at her feet releasing a yellow cloud of gas. Jumping back while holding her breath, Rin had to turn quickly to her right and block several more needles. She remained in her position before throwing a kunai at what appeared to be a bush in a patch of trees. It turned into a log as Rin muttered Megan, Kokoni Arazu no Jutsu before and the ability to maintain and before using Kawamiri, very impressive. Demonic illusion, false surrounding technique. Rin jumped straight into the air past several pellets that released poison gas after landing next to where she just was. As Rin was in midair she felt the air move before gasping as a foot found its way into her stomach and she coughed out, Meisai Gakur no Jutsu, hiding with camouflage technique. When she collided with the ground several senbon pierced her skin before she turned into a puddle of water revealing she was a water clone before a pink and red blur went flying out from a patch of trees into the clearing with Rin closely following in the air. As she landed the Jounin delivered a brutal axe kick into Sakura's stomach and Kakashi had to hold Naruto back before Sakura burst into cherry blossom petals and her voice rang out, Hanan Inpo, Kyokusai, flower art, mirror flower water move. The blossoms surrounded blacking out her field of vision before she released the genjutsu and grabbed the fist about to slam into her jaw before throwing the girl across the clearing and calling out, enough. Sakura stopped as Rin continued, not bad, I'm impressed, you're not completely hopeless. I'll give you a chance, but if at any point I think you are slacking the training is over and you can go to basic medical school if you want to learn some techniques. Flashback and needless to say Sakura agreed immediately and was now skipping towards the hospital in a great mood. After working hard it's finally paying off and someone she never met acknowledged her skill, and that person happened to be one of the premier med nin in Konoha. And the cherry on top is that her mom is supposed to be back from her trip today. After entering the hospital she returned the receptionist's greeting before following the directions towards Rin's office. When Sakura entered she was surprised at the appearance. The office was about 2/3 the size of the Hokage's with a small desk in the far left corner looking out the window. There were several shelves filled with everything from medical textbooks to advanced treatises in cutting-edge medicine with a plush carpet over maple floors and expensive-looking leather furniture. Sakura was slightly awed as a hand tapped her on the shoulder, close your mouth, you're drooling. Hastily wiping the string of spit from her chin and lips Sakura turned around to greet her new sensei only to get cut off by some scrolls being shoved into her hands. These are basic medical control exercises. You may have perfect control for a Jonin but you are still light years away from being able to perform complex medical procedures using just chakra. After stuffing the scrolls into her pack Sakura once again turned around to have 2 textbooks about a foot thick each thrown into her dainty arms. These are 2 anatomy books. The first one deals with the basic organs and body systems while the second one deals with the chakra network and how it flows throughout the body to the organs and muscles. The required reading is circled in the table of context and I expect you to have detailed knowledge on the subjects. If you don't show adequate knowledge on the books or chakra control exercises when I test you every 2 weeks then I will stop training you. Sakura stuffed the scrolls in her bag before frantically following her teacher as she walked through the halls giving her a tour as she talked. While you are training with me we shall work on several different things. We shall continue your education of healing techniques that don't use chakra, herbal creams for pain management or disinfectant, advanced techniques for bandaging and casts, and even surgery and how to perform it safely in the field if the situation ever calls for it. Most of our time will be spent in the greenhouse and animal habitat learning about various different types of flora and poisonous fauna from all over the elemental nations or in the training rooms working on first aid or medical techniques. After lunch we will be going to the training ground. Though medic nin avoid direct combat there are times when you will have to fight someone head-on, and barring Tsunade, most medics don't have the strength to compete head-to-head with frontline fighters, but I will teach you how to use chakra scalpels to overcome that. These scalpels don't puncture the skin but still allow you to perform delicate operations inside a patient just using your chakra. They were originally meant for surgery but some people got the idea to use them in combat. For instance, you can cut a person's Achilles tendon making it so they can no longer walk with just a tap or shut down an organ. You won't be able to hit anything vital yet because of the lack of control, but with proper application this is a deadly style. Sakura trudged towards her porch steps with a heavy backpack but she instantly brightened upon seeing lights on in the house knowing it meant her mother was home from her work trip. Feeling her energy lift up, Sakura bounced up the steps and threw the door open. "Mom, I'm home." Sometimes Sakura thinks her mom should be a ninja because she was hugging Sakura as soon as she finished the sentence. "Oh Sakura, I missed you so much. I wish I could have given you more warning, but it was an emergency, and since I've worked in the back room I knew everything we needed from the warehouse and they sent me." "No, it's fine Mom, I was gone for almost 2 weeks when we had the mission to Nami." Sakura finally looked at her mom and realized how exhausted she looked. Her hair was pulled into a ponytail but strands of it were sticking out everywhere, her eyes were also bloodshot, and her clothes looked like she just got up. "Mom, do you need anything? I can get you something to eat or drink, you look dead on your feet." Tomo started laughing and gave Sakura her signature "I know something you don't look," consisting of a smug grin with her eyes slightly shut and her head just barely tilted off to the right. "No, I'm fine Sakura, but don't you want to hear about my trip? I went to an island where there has been a recent influx of goods being imported and exported to and from Fire Country." Sakura perked up at hearing that, slightly suspicious. "And does this island have a name?" Smiling wider after hearing that question, Tomo answered, "Yes it does. In fact, this is because there is a large bridge there that was just recently finished, allowing anyone with a cart to transport goods, and trade is booming. In fact, the bridge had a really interesting name." "What was it?" "I can't remember, it had something to do with fish cakes or a maelstrom." "Oh hold on, it's called the Great Naruto Bridge, and there is a plaque with a statue detailing the story of the triumphant Team 7. It's amazing Sakura, you're a hero. There were kids going around dressed up in copies of your old red dress or with their hair dyed pink hair. Your team really changed their lives." Sakura couldn't help herself as she smiled at hearing that. "Wow, so Nami is already getting better. It seems like we went on that mission yesterday even if it's been over 2 months. I can't believe that Baka got a bridge named after him. He deserved it though, he did so much for that country." As Sakura trailed off, her mother once again put on her "I know something you don't" look. It seems like Sakura-chan has a crush on a certain blonde Baka that she's always complaining about. Sakura gave her mother a scandalized look as she felt her face heat up. "Mother, I don't like Naruto like that. He's my friend and teammate, nothing more." Adopting a predatory look, Tomo continued, "Then why are you blushing, sweetheart? I saw that smile on your face and it looked an awful lot like the one you always used to have when you were talking about how cool and dreamy Sasuke was." The steam was pouring out of her ears at this point. "Mom, I can't like Naruto that way. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's really supportive and kind. He also works really hard to get strong to protect his friends, but he's just so goofy and clumsy sometimes. Even if it is funny. And he's not sexy at all, though he does look better without all the orange and his whisker marks are kind of cute." Realizing what she just said, Sakura clamped her hands over her mouth. "No wait, Naruto is not cute. Nope, he's gross, ugly, and disgusting. He burps and is gassy all the time and is just so. Naruto. Definitely not cute at all." Sakura and Naruto sitting in a tree. Stop that. Kissing. Stop. At first comes love, then comes marriage. Mom, I'm serious. Then comes the baby and the golden carriage. Mom, it's not like that. Just make sure you use protection, dear. La 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 la, I can't hear you. Oh my, you are always saying he has so much energy. I bet he's a beast in the sack. I'm still not listening. Honey, it's every mother's right to tease and embarrass her daughter whenever she pleases. Taking delight in her daughter's scarlet face and how she was fiddling with the hem of her dress, Tomo thought back to her childhood. Now I know why my mom did this to me all the time. It's so fun, and Sakura looks so cute, flustered. After she was done enjoying the simple pleasures of life, Tomo continued, "Anyway dear, I haven't gone shopping but I've ordered some delivery for dinner. How does teriyaki chicken skewers and rice sound?" "That's fine Mom. Oh, by the way, I have more money from the C-rank mission, let me go get it." Sakura rushed up the stairs before her mother could respond and came back holding an enveloped stuff with Rio notes. "Sakura, this is a lot. Ninja certainly get paid well, don't they? I can't accept this, honey. This is your money, Sakura, and as a teenage girl you should be spending it on what you want." Sakura frowned when her mother handed her the envelope back. "Mom, we already went over this. I want you to have it. Even if you say I didn't mess up your life, I still feel bad. You work so hard and I want you to take it easy, so why don't you quit your night job and only work at the restaurant?" The older woman's brows furrowed slightly. "Sakura, the restaurant is the job that pays for groceries. I couldn't make enough just working there. The warehouse job pays more, and if I continue doing well they might promote me and keep sending me to Nami no Kuni or other trading partners, and I'll be getting a serious wage increase. My monthly pay will practically double." Sakura put the envelope down in front of her mother before huffing and turning to the right while crossing her arms over her chest. "I wanted to be a ninja to help you out, Mom, so you could live a normal life. I don't want you to be going away constantly for work." Tomo scowled at her daughter and raised her voice slightly. I can't remember asking for your help, Sakura. I definitely don't need my 13-year-old daughter to help support us. Sakura's voice got higher in response to her mother's mom. It's not like that. I feel guilty that you would eat less because of me or always buy me stuff but never anything nice for yourself. I'm not saying you can provide, but I want to help and maybe we can move into a bigger house with all new things instead of living here. Tomo was livid. Her forehead was twitching much like her daughter's and her eyes were a frightening white. So you're saying I can't do a good enough job, Sakura? Maybe if life is so bad you should find your own place to live. I don't need your pity. I did all those things and sacrificed so much because I loved you and didn't want to abort you like your father or put you up for adoption like your grandmother said to. You think the world is so simple and you have all the answers, but you're still just a naive child. I'm sorry, I just want to help this family. We're struggling to get by and I don't understand why you won't just take the money. I can't believe that you're this dumb. I must have got my brains from Dad. Having said her piece, Sakura stormed up to her room before her mom could respond, all thoughts of dinner forgotten. Once she entered her room and slammed the door, Sakura pulled out the textbooks Rin gave her and opened to the table of contents in the first one. Sighing when she saw that every chapter was circled, Sakura began to read the enormous book. Sakura went up to her calendar to mark the date for her next test with Rin-sensei. It's been 2 weeks since she had her first lesson and fought with her mother. She passed the test with flying colors, but hasn't even seen her mom since the fight. After their first week of individual training, Team 7 took a border patrol mission for a week while they did team drills, survival training, and Sakura read her books and worked on getting down the chakra control exercises. Rin gave Sakura a new scroll containing a more advanced control exercise as well as several more advanced books on biology and how the chakra network interacts with the body's various systems, and said she would start learning the diagnostic jutsu and mystical palm. Sakura was about to take a well-deserved nap when the doorbell echoed through the house. After opening the door, she saw Tenten there in some jeans, a tight pink t-shirt and a huge smile. Surprise. I know we've both been super busy, but I thought I'd check and see if you had a day off. I don't really have anything on my schedule right now. Let's go do something. I just need to change first. Letting Tenten and Sakura dashed upstairs to her room before throwing on a dark blue skirt and a white tank top. Dashing downstairs, Sakura grabbed her friend's arm and ran out the door. Come on, let's go, Buns. After buying some new ninja and sewing supplies, the two girls were at a Sukiya stand while Sakura told the story of the fight with her mother. And then she starts making fun of me, saying that I have a crush on Naruto, as if. Hearing some giggling, Sakura turned and saw her friend with her hand over her mouth. No way, Tenten, that was the most feminine thing I've ever seen you do, so cute. Blushing lightly, Tenten responded, shut up, Pinky, at least I'm not a Princess Kunoichi like you are. Anyways, you don't think that she might be right? Sakura scoffed at her friend. Yeah, right, like I could have feelings for Naruto of all people. I don't know, Sakura, I mean whenever we hang out you're always talking about him. I remember you saying how he looked all buff one day now that he's eating healthy. Oh, let's not forget that dream you had. God, Tenten, keep that down. I told you that in confidence. The dream was just because we had to share a tent on our last mission after I unpacked mine and saw all the holes that mice chewed into it, and then it rained. Tenten rested her chin on the palm of her hand as her eyes glinted at the younger girl. But Sakura-chan, remember you said you woke and your panties were sopping wet while something big and hard was poking you. I'm sure you think about that from time to time while petting your kitty. Blushing, Sakura tried to change the subject. That's not the point. What I was trying to say is that I got into a fight with my mom and we haven't seen each other in the last 2 weeks. I've been staying busy so I can put it out of my mind, but whenever there's nothing to do I feel awful about it. As she finished denying any feelings for Naruto, a voice surged in her mind that she hadn't heard in ages. Cha, that stick was huge, don't you remember rubbing against it after we woke up? That felt amazing. I wonder what else our blonde baka could do with that meat stick. What, I thought you were gone, why did you have to come back? Pulling down her eyelid and sticking out her tongue, Sakura's inner persona replied, there's no getting rid of me, I'm a part of you and I'm back in business. Sakura pushed her inner self back into the recesses of her mind as she watched Tenten scratch her cheek awkwardly while trying to figure out how to respond. Listen, Sakura, I may not be the best to answer this because I've never had parents, but if I had a mom I wouldn't want anything to come between us, especially if I was in this profession. I think that you should make some time and settle this with her. You're right, I've gotta go, Tenten. We have a team drill in an hour and I need to get ready. Waving goodbye to her friend, Sakura paid for her meal, and as she left she vowed tomorrow would be the day that her and her mother made up. It looks like Kaka-sensei is going to be getting some payback. Naruto was walking towards Team 9's training grounds to try to get in contact with Guy-sensei. 2 weeks ago he said that he would be unable to train Naruto for the next 2 months, so he allowed him to copy some new kata of Uzumaki with the sharingan to practice on his own time. Since then they apparently went on a scheduled training trip and were finally back in the village, and Naruto wanted to find out all he could about his mother from her sharingan student after he heard some stories from the Hokage and got a photo album. Oji-san and Tsuchi-jisen said, "My mom could be scary. I hope it isn't her fault that guy-sensei is so youthful." Naruto could hear metal colliding and knew he was close when he suddenly flipped backwards to avoid a large turtle. "Halt, Guy-sensei is privately training his students right now and I will have to give him some warning so you do not see the team's regimen, so please wait here." Naruto's sweat dropped as 5 minutes have passed and the turtle was only about 20 strides away from him. "Here, let me help you out." Naruto ran up the turtle and punted him towards the sounds of training only to hear, "Ow, my handsome beautiful face. Why? Why would someone do that?" Naruto scratched the back of his head. Oops. After breaking the tree line, Naruto was greeted by the sight of Guy and Lee Man hugging it out. Again, and watching him was a girl with brown hair and 2 buns who was looking at him with an appraising look before giving him a strange smile, and a girly boy with eyes like that weird girl in his class and had really long brown hair. Guy-sensei, can I talk to you for a minute?" "Yosh, of course my youthful pupil. I always have time for anyone in the springtime of their youth, and the fiery passion runs through your veins." "I'll take that as a yes." Actually, Sensei Lee watched as one of his eternal rivals whispered into Guy's ear. Naruto-kun must feel lost without Guy-sensei's hip guidance. The other 2 Jonin on his squad edged away from him as flames began burning in his eyes. "Yosh Naruto-kun, you are learning even faster than I did, but I shall not fall behind." The green-clad Jonin was about to start thinking up impossible punishments to complete if he fell behind Naruto when suddenly he heard his mentor's voice. "Naruto-kun, truly this is the springtime of your youth. I will be happy to give you a private lesson to help with your taijutsu." Lee began to cry, not manly tears of passion, but tears of sorrow, for Shisho was embracing Naruto as his arms flailed about, obviously in wonder at Guy-sensei's amazing youthfulness, as a sunset appeared behind them as it fell over a large whirlpool. "Oh, I am in awe at the hip scene that they are producing with their youthful energies. I must join in." That's how Naruto found himself sandwiched between the green duo as they shouted each other's names. Thankfully he still had the walrus cap, otherwise he would have been tortured in his sleep until he lost his sanity and allowed the Kyuubi to break free. After the traumatizing ordeal, Naruto sat in the fetal position in the training ground sucking his thumb as Sai walked up and gave him a questioning look. "Did you discover that it is impossible for you to receive any sexual pleasure because your penis is too small?" He received a rock to his face as Naruto stood up and yelled at him. "Shut up about my penis. I swear to God, if I ever wake up and you're in my tent I will stab you 31 times. Sai didn't hear Naruto's threat as the rock knocked him into blissful unconsciousness as Naruto angrily fell to the ground. I have to say Sai has been a lot better recently. He hardly ever fake smiles. Well, once in a while he does. More like half the time. Sometimes he actually smiles on the rare occasion. And that painting of the ramen waterfall he gave me was awesome." Shaking his head to remove the glorious image of a torrent of ramen cascading down a cliff given to him by his pale-haired teammate, Naruto turned his thoughts to his other one. "I wonder where Sakura-chan is. She's usually the first one here. Maybe it has something to do with why she's been so sad. I wish I could do something, but I wouldn't know what to say. Nobody ever cared enough to comfort me, so I wouldn't know what to do." Suddenly a puff of smoke appeared and Naruto heard, "Sorry I'm late, but where's Sakura?" Frowning at his sensei, Naruto responded, "I don't know. You don't think she's hurt or in trouble?" Kakashi just opened his smut and began reading, "Nope, I'd know the second any one of you were hurt. Oh well, she's probably getting busy with some stud." Naruto gave Kakashi a questioning look, but he just turned the page and ignored it. It was almost half an hour later when Sakura finally arrived. Giving his crush a glance out of the corner of his eye, he felt a little better when he saw that she had that spark in her eye again. He was about to say hi when Kakashi spoke up. "Alright team, since we're all here I'll tell you what is on the agenda. We're going to meet Rin in the park and then walk to the hot springs for some relaxation. You guys have been pushing yourselves really hard and it's important to rest every once in a while." Team 7 walked towards Rin as she had her hands resting on her hips as she watched them approach. "I don't know why I believed you when you said you would be on time, Kakashi. Let's hear your ridiculous excuse." Scratching the back of his head sheepishly, the copycat answered, "Well, I arrived to pick up my students so we wouldn't be late, but Sakura-chan arrived after me." Rin blinked owlishly at the silver-haired man. "That's actually believable, but I know that responsible Sakura-chan would never be late like that." Sakura chuckled nervously before responding, "Well, actually I had some personal matters to take care of, so I did arrive later than sensei." The brunette's glacial expression melted as she bent down while smiling at Sakura. She patted her on the head while saying, "That's okay then Sakura-chan, I don't mind if you're late every once in a while, just don't take after your worthless sensei." As Rin led Team 7 towards the hot spring, Kakashi crouched under a tree. "What is it shit on Kakashi time in heaven? I can't get a break." Kakashi eventually caught up and Team 7 was walking to the hot springs down the trail in the park. As they walked down the path near the springs, they passed a tree next to the fence as Naruto heard a weird high-pitched giggle. Stopping and looking around, he finally spots a red coattail hanging from a tree branch with lots of foliage. Following it up, he realized it belonged to a man who looked like he was in his 40s and was wearing olive green pants and a shirt under his red vest with a long white mane that stopped around his waist, with a weird headdress that had the kanji for oil printed on it and two horns protruding from the sides and wooden getter protecting his feet. He was looking intently into the hot spring while furiously scribbling in a notepad with his head slightly bent so Naruto could see the bright stripes that started under his eyes and trailed down his cheeks, stopping at his jaw. Seeing the man peeping into the hot springs, Naruto reached up and jumped up, grabbing onto the vest as it hung down. Now normally a teenager shouldn't be enough to pull a fully grown man out of a tree, but when said teen was wearing incredibly heavy weights, it became possible as the branch snapped and the man fell with it on top of Naruto and landing in a heap, forming a large cloud of dust. "Damn it, you pervy old man, get off me. That better be a pen in your pocket, I swear to God." "Easy there kid, I only go for the attractive woman type." "Whatever you say, perverted geezer." "Shut up kid, I'll have you know that I am a legendary ninja, Jiraiya the Toad Sennin." Sakura chose this moment to butt into the weird scene. "There's no way that you can be the Jiraiya." Looking over at their sensei for confirmation, Sakura and Naruto saw his one visible eye turn into a star. "Lord Jiraiya, it's good to see you. When is your next masterpiece being released to the public?" "Ah, Kakashi-kun, is that you? I have good news for my biggest fan, it's coming out in 3 months. As the Toad Sage finished answering, Rin's fist impacted with the back of his head, sending him careening as he landed in front of Sakura. "Well, if it isn't Minato's other brat." Before he could continue, Jiraiya felt the cold embrace of death, and he would later swear on his mother's grave that the pink-haired girl is a distant relative to Tsunade, as he was catapulted by her fist into Naruto and they plowed through the fence of the hot spring as a feminine screech echoed out. Naruto came out shortly thereafter looking dazed and his nose was dripping blood, even though it doesn't look like he got hit at all. Jiraiya managed to drag himself out shortly afterwards, covered in bruises, claw marks, blood and a wide lecherous grin across his face. He did a quick spin on one foot, and when he completed the rotation it appeared that everything he received from the women inside the springs was gone, except the smile. Naruto turned and looked at the pervert. What kind of legendary ninja can get hit by a Sharingan? "Grru brat, I'm a super powerful ninja, and war hero." Jiraiya took 3 hops to the left on one foot, then clapped his hands over his head. One of the legendary 3 hops to the right, followed by another clap over his head. "Student of the Sandaime Hokage." He jumped straight up and spread his legs, landing with them about shoulder width apart and his knees bent 90 degrees as he clapped his hands in front of him, holding the pose, "Ladies love me, and men want to be me." Jiraiya jumped in the air and did a spin before landing in the same pose with one arm pointed downwards with his palm on the ground and knees bent even more, before suddenly appearing several feet taller and standing straight up and doing the nice guy pose as an orange and yellow toad appeared underneath him in a cloud of smoke. "I am the legendary Toad Sage, the handsome, manly, and powerful Jiraiya-sama." Naruto took a second to gather his thoughts after witnessing a grown man do. "Well, whatever the hell just happened? Whatever, you're just a little pervert." "Hey, I'm not a little pervert." "Oh yeah, then what are you?" "A big one." Naruto deadpanned at the so-called legend. "Wait, if the weirder you or the stronger you or this guy may be a legend." "Whatever, Sennin, if you're such great ninja then prove it and teach me something awesome." Smiling at the blonde, Jiraiya bent down and put his arm around Naruto's shoulders before pulling him close and smiling widely. "I would kid, but I don't train ungrateful brats like you who can't appreciate my art." Naruto was fuming at hearing that. "Oh yeah, well, I'm gonna be Hokage, so teach me something and you can say you train one." The tall man started laughing boisterously as Kakashi placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Actually Naruto, Jiraiya-sama was the 4th Hokage's master." "That's right brat, and there's no way some loser like you can measure up to the Yondaime. He was a genius that comes around once in 100 years, though he wouldn't have gotten as far if it wasn't for my excellent tutelage." Naruto clenched his hands and fists. Even though he was used to people underestimating him, it still pissed him off. Naruto just had a gut feeling that this guy needed to train him, even if he would probably say no. "This guy probably hates me for the fox." "Oh yeah, well, I'm going to be a Hokage that surpasses the 4th, so if you still want to be known for training the best Hokage then you better teach me T-Bio, Jiraiya laughed and ruffled Naruto's hair. Alright kid, you got guts and I like that in a ninja, so I'll give you one chance to impress me. I'll make a shadow clone that can't use any ninjutsu or genjutsu, and if you can dispel it then I'll train you. You're on Uro Sennin. Jiraiya was walking behind his godson's team looking at Rin's shapely ass in those tight pants that she wasn't wearing for her benefit. Damn Kakashi, you messed that one up. Who am I to talk though? Shifting his gaze from the fine ass in front of him, Jiraiya looked at his godson as he walked with a determined gait. I wish I could have been there for you kid, but one day you'll understand and hopefully you can forgive me as well. Still, it was quite the coincidence that Naruto ran into me there. Hell, the kid practically did the job for me. I was going to arrange for a different accidental meeting after I got some good research in, but he showed up and practically demanded I trained him. I guess he just got taken in by the sheer awesomeness of Jiraiya the legendary Toad Tamer. That would be a good title if Game Obunta wouldn't sit on me after hearing it. Alright, I'll avoid him for 20 minutes and then see what kind of crazy, desperate half-baked plan he pulls out when his back is against the wall, and I'll let him get a hit. The motley crew arrived at the training field as Jiraiya explained the rules of the wager. Alright Shrimp, you have 20 minutes to land a hit on my shadow clone. If my clone went all out, you would be annihilated in seconds by the overwhelming ferocity that is the legendary Jiraiya, so it can't use any ninjutsu and can only defend using the academy-style taijutsu. Pretty much you won't face the unstoppable force that is me. If you don't land a hit then I don't have to train you and I get all your money, so I suggest not holding back. Hey you perverted fart, that wasn't part of the deal. You just want my money to go to a whorehouse. Giving the brat an indignant look, Jiraiya said, what I do with the money is none of your concern, and the way I see it this is lose-lose situation for me. When you get the piss thoroughly stomped out of you I don't get anything except wasted peeping. I mean research time, and on the off chance you get incredibly lucky and win I have to train a runt like you. Besides, nothing in this world is without risks, so if you can't gut it out you should just give up. I never give up and I won't lose TBO. Giving the kid a smile, Jiraiya decided to get it rolling. Talking does nothing but waste air. Let's go Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Jiraiya prepared a clone and jumped back to let it get to work. As he was about to start the match he felt Kakashi's glare. Looks like I need to explain about our little wager. Alright kid, the clock starts now. Jiraiya was actually surprised when Naruto made the same seal he just made and called out Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, creating 20 copies of himself. The clone split off into groups and spread around the clearing surrounding Jiraiya's clone. Not bad kid, but 20 times pathetic is still. Math was never my strong suit, but my point is you're lucky I can't go on the offensive, but you're still going to get your ass kicked. Blinking at the clone, Naruto seemed to remember what he was doing and unstrapped his wrist weights before throwing them at the Jiraiya clone that sidestepped the weights as the clones peppered his position with smoke bombs before 2 more weight bands burst through the clouds, spinning rapidly towards the sage's face. Reaching up and grabbing one of the weights, Jiraiya allowed the momentum to keep swinging him around as he pirouetted around the other one and used the band in his hand to bat away the kunai with explosive tags that were launched at him back at groups of clones, causing them to dispel before throwing it into a patch of trees. The clone looked at Naruto before resting his chin in between his index finger and thumb. Jiraiya closed his eyes and nodded sagely before addressing the blonde. Since you're going to lose, I'll give you a couple free lessons. Rule number 1 when fighting a legend: don't give them anything they can use as a weapon. As he finished, he heard Naruto's voice ring out as the weight and feel of the object in his hand changed and he heard a hissing. You probably shouldn't close your eyes in a fight, Uro Sennin. Opening his eyes, the clone saw that he was holding a log with an explosive note on it. Not ba, the clearing shook as the explosive tag detonated. Naruto started strutting around the clearing while pumping his fists into the air. Alright, how's that, you peeping Tom? Naruto fell face first as a log hit him in the back of the head. And you shouldn't celebrate till the fight is over, shorty. Naruto stood up as he rubbed the lump forming on the back of his head. Alright you pervy geezer, it's time to get serious. You do that, I'm having lots of fun, so why would I want to be serious? Jiraiya's face morphed into a surprised look for a second before laughing as Naruto lifted his headband. Oh, so you have a sharingan under that headband. It's too bad you suck so much that it means nothing. As he finished his sentence, it appeared that Naruto was circling around him at high speeds, leaving dozens of after images. The clone looked around frantically as Naruto descended from above Jiraiya with his foot raised before the clone smirked and launched himself into the air to deliver a vicious headbutt to the blonde, leaving him grabbing his head and rolling on the ground. Not a bad genjutsu kid, but it'll take better than that to best someone like me. Jiraiya looked around the clearing trying to find the blonde. As he turned his head, the hermit was looking directly into the sharingan only to become paralyzed as everything around him went black and the eye grew to an immense size and began revolving, trapping him in its gaze. As he was about to get dispelled by a swarm of kunai, the clone halted his chakra flow with no hand sign before turning and catching the closest one in his teeth and using it to block several other ones before spitting it out. Gross kid, maybe you should consider washing your hands once in a while. God damn it, stay still so I can hit you, Uro-senin. You're about 20 years away from being able to hit me, Gaki. Jiraiya threw a punch that missed the Jinan by a mile before almost being hit by the counter. Once again halting the flow of his chakra, Jiraiya congratulated the kid. You're not half bad with that eye. Unfortunately for you, I'm just too astounding for my own good. Naruto clenched his fists. Whatever you perv, try this on for size. He rushed at Jiraiya and began to engage him with taijutsu. The Ozuken was doing alright against the inferior academy style, but every time Jiraiya was open for a counter he would speed up the rotation Naruto put him into and glide just out of range. That's some decent taijutsu, but I've fought a master of that style, so you'll need something better. Naruto looked shocked at hearing that. He must have been told about his mother. Maybe I should have checked in with Sarutobi-sensei about him when I got into the village. The kid is full of surprises, that's for sure. Jiraiya continued to fend off the Ozuken before he felt something was off. This kid isn't dumb enough to use the same tactic if it's not working. What's he up to? Once again Jiraiya stopped his chakra flow and the surroundings wavered, showing a horde of Naruto clones surrounding him from every direction before the battalion of clones launched Fuuma Shuriken at Jiraiya, forming a wall of solid steel that was whistling as it enclosed around a clone. Shiho Happo Shuriken from all sides. The Sennin was really tempted to use a wind jutsu. Why would I do that though? Technically I'd lose and I'm not ready for that yet. Clever kid, that eye of yours is dangerous. Maybe I should stop looking at it. Jiraiya shoved off the forced suggestion and reached into his vest with both hands, aiming for the pocket seals he stitched in and envisioning what he needed. He pulled out two shields that when clamped together formed a protective sphere around the clone, protecting him from harm. Naruto pointed an accusing finger at the sage. That's cheating. You used a jutsu. Correction, I used Fuuinjutsu, not ninjutsu. After hearing it was Fuuinjutsu, Naruto once again rushed with taijutsu and launched a spinning kick at the clone. When the Jiraiya copy went to punch the short ninja away, it was almost dispelled as a wall of wind swirled around Naruto, forcing him to pull his punch and jump back. Fuuten, Sensuguki, rumbling wind wall. Jiraiya watched his godson, clearly impressed. It seems that Kakashi is training a monster. Too bad it won't be enough. There are some dangerous men coming for him and it's my duty as his godfather to get him ready. The 20-minute mark was fast approaching and Jiraiya was waiting to see the unpredictable boy's last plan of attack. He was slightly disappointed when Naruto just filled the field up with shadow clones that rushed his using jutsu, taijutsu, and barrages of weapons that would sometimes turn into clones to try and attack from behind. Even though the amount was impressive and tactics sound, it wouldn't be enough to damage an S-class ninja on their worst day. Jiraiya watched as the Naruto horde was slowly thinned as they were outmaneuvered by his clone. Clearly the kid's clones were more effective in small bunches than en masse. Jiraiya's clone was vaulting off Naruto's and using them as shields against the others' attacks and just avoiding the army, waiting for the clock to tick out. While it was in the middle of the complicated routine, the original Jiraiya saw four Narutos separate from the horde standing on top of the tallest tree in the training ground. Two of the Narutos grabbed one and threw him as hard as they could toward the back of Jiraiya's clone. The third one finished a set of hand seals and launched a datapa that propelled the living missile faster as he dispelled his clones, creating a smoke screen before colliding with Jiraiya's clone, dispelling it. The Toad Hermit couldn't help himself and smiled at his godson. The kid's an evil genius with loads of chakra. He apparently learns really fast if he improved this much over the last report I received, and most importantly he has just as much guts as I do. Yes, Minato, you and Kushina created a machine. The brat will be the perfect apprentice. Jiraiya watched as the pink-haired girl pulled him out of the crater before violently shaking him and calling him a moron. After nearly knocking the kid unconscious, she gave him a hug that had Naruto looking like a tomato. I'm glad you found some happiness here too, kiddo. Alright Gaki, I may not like it but I'm a man of my word. I'll find you when I'm ready to get on it tomorrow, but for now I have work to do. With that, Jiraiya disappeared back to the hot springs before taking care of business. After all, Konoha had some of the finest women in the elemental nations. It was nearly dark and the hot springs were closing for a cleaning when Jiraiya left and ran into Kakashi. You know, I don't appreciate what you're trying to do. Naruto is my pupil and I promised sensei I would train him before he was even born. Jiraiya adopted a melancholy look at the memory of happier times. Walking past Kakashi, Jiraiya made a motion with his head indicating Kakashi should follow and led him to a rooftop with a panoramic view of Konoha. Kakashi, I wish I could let you honor that promise, but that was made in a world much brighter than this one. Giving the Senin a one-eyed glare, Kakashi spoke. "What gives you the right to train him? Just because you are his godfather and one of the Sannin? Well, I'm no slouch either. I am the best person to teach Naruto. You were gone for 13 years and suddenly show up and expect to get first dibs. I may have not have been able to do much, but I did what I could to help the boy, and I plan to make him my apprentice as soon as the team becomes Chunin and Sakura goes under Rin's wing full-time." Jiraiya's normally cheerful voice was cold and harsh. "Enough." Continuing in a softer tone, Jiraiya addressed the copy Nin. "Do you think I wanted to abandon my godson? If it was possible, I would have gladly taken Naruto on the road with me or stayed here in the village I love, but the world is far from ideal. The road is no place for a baby, and without my spine at work there might not have been a Konoha. Did you know that after the attack I spread the rumor that the Ondai died to enslave the Kyuubi to the Hokage's will forever, and that kept most of the trouble away? Or what about when I discovered he was planned to raid the grain roads during harvest season after they had a particularly bad growing season?" The sage sighed and turned back to look over the village he had given over 40 years of his life to. "I had other responsibilities, Kakashi, but I still did what I could too. Who do you think pays for Naruto's housing and all of his old clothes, school supplies, and weapons? I also made him an account and had one of the best damn investors on the continent build up his funds so he will always have money." Turning away from Kakashi to admire the view, Jiraiya continued, "I don't want to take the kid from you. Kakashi, you're doing a great job and Naruto is coming along nicely, but even the fast rate that he is improving isn't enough to face what he has to. He may be a solid ninja, but he will have to face opponents that may be stronger than I am. I've picked up whispers of a group that is hunting Jinchuriki like Naruto, and Orochimaru was just a member of it before leaving. Any group that he would join is bad news. I need to get him ready for when they start hunting, and I have to do it fast." Kakashi finally relented. "All right, Jiraiya-sama, you can help train him, but I'm not letting you monopolize all his time. There is a little over 1 month left before the exams. We shall share that time in the month between the second test and finals." "That sounds fine, but I need to take him on a training trip like I did his father to help him grow into a man. How about he stays for 3 months after the exams to get used to his new duties, then I will take him for 3 years maximum before handing him back to you. But I will pop in at times to teach him some other tricks. Now that we got that settled, I have something for you." Jiraiya reached into his jacket before pulling out a blue book with a man sitting down with 3 women draped over his shoulders giving him sultry looks. "It's my next book scheduled to be released, Icha Icha, the Rectangle of Love special edition with author notes and sketches as well as my autograph. I'll give you a teaser. If you remove the N, the G and second E from rectangle." Jiraiya trailed off and giggled before Kakashi grabbed the book and hugged it to his chest before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. "Kakashi, you're too easy. Now I'll have at least a week before we have to share Naruto. You better get ready for a hell of a month, kid." A Jonin with silver hair pulled into a ponytail and large circular glasses with thin frames was picking up his peculiar curved kunai after a team training session and placing them in the holster on his purple pants. He dusted off his matching purple vest over a plain white t-shirt and adjusted his white sash tied around his waist when he spotted a black viper around 3 feet long as it slithered out of the woods and through the clearing towards the teen. The boy straightened his back and light glinted off his glasses as he pushed them up his nose as he eyed the snake with interest. When the serpent reached his feet, it coiled around his right leg and climbed up his purple pants and top before resting its head over his shoulder as a forked tongue flitted in and out of its mouth, tasting his scent. Holding his hand out, a scroll was regurgitated into his palm before he broke the seal and read the message. "Silver Mole, I appreciated the gift you sent me and during our last correspondence, and I think I can find some use for it later. You always give me the best presents. Unfortunately, I will have to cancel the reunion with my old man. You see, a valued friend of mine is sick and I have to take care of him while he recovers. Thankfully, you are a gifted medic and I feel your expertise would prove useful to me in this situation. Your team will prove perfect for a mission I'm requesting, and after that I think you should pay a visit and we can catch up if you are in the area." White Snake. The boy let the scroll drop to the ground as the snake descended and sprayed it with venom, causing it to disintegrate. The teen hastily scribbled something on a piece of paper before dropping it and disappeared in a swirl of leaves as the snake swallowed the folded sheet and slithered back to its master. Naruto strolled down the streets of Konoha heading to the area that Jiraiya told him to go to for their training session. Team 7 just finished a week of team training, so it would be his first training session with a member of the Sannin. As he walked by Sakura's house, he let out a sigh and remembered the first hug she gave him on those steps with his cheeks tinged red. Sakura-chan has sure been acting strange recently. She's been giving me weird looks when she thinks that I'm not paying attention, and her face has been turning red all week too. She was probably pushing herself too hard and is getting sick because of it. She should take a break this week, But I hope when she feels better that I still get all the hugs. The boy came into a large clearing next to the stream he was following and saw the super pervert peering through a telescope. "What, you looking at Hiro-senin?" In response he got an orange telescope shoved into his hands. Shrugging, the blonde raised it up to his eye and followed the perv's line of sight and saw a pool that was at the bottom of a small waterfall where several attractive women were playing in the water. By pure chance he happened to look right at the shapely butt in a green bikini as the girl bent over to splash her friend. The boy knew what he was doing was wrong and was about to say something to Jiraiya when the girl in the green bikini was tackled by her red-headed friend, who landed on top of girl, pinning her arms over her head and giving Naruto an excellent view of her cleavage. He couldn't lower the telescope, and when he tried to yell at Jiraiya, all that came out was a perverted giggle as blood flowed into his mouth. The pervert eventually collapsed his telescope before pocketing it. "You can keep that, kid. You know there's nothing like a little sensei-student bonding before training. I remember when me and Sarutobi-sensei used to sneak into hot springs to peek when I was your age after I made the Totan Jutsu, transparency technique. Anyways kid, for the next month we're going to work on the Kushio no Jutsu, summoning jutsu, so first things first." Removing the large scroll on his back, the toad hermit unrolled it, revealing two names, his and Namikaze Minato. "You have to sign in blood, kid, and after you perform the signs boar, dog, bird, monkey, and ram with blood on one of your hands, and then you place it on the ground like this." After making aforementioned hand signs, Jiraiya slammed a palm on the ground saying Kushio no Jutsu. Reminiscent of the day they met, a large orange and blue toad with a beaded necklace appeared underneath the senin. After Naruto finished signing, the large man rolled up the scroll and allowed the toad to swallow it before it disappeared. "Watch this, Hiro-senin, I'll get it down first try, T-by-O." The boy made the required signs before slamming his still bleeding hand into the ground Kushio no Jutsu. Naruto was excited upon seeing the large cloud of smoke, but his optimism was shattered and he came crashing down to reality when a small orange toad about the size of his head with blue markings, and it was wearing a tiny blue vest. "Yo, I'm Gamikachi, you got any snacks?" Naruto face faulted as Jiraiya began cracking up. "Oh yeah brat, you definitely nailed it first try." The sage laughed loudly for the next minute before continuing, "Oh man kid, you're a riot. You'll definitely become Hokage with moves like that." As his sensei laughed and belittled him, Naruto tried once again, Kushio no Jutsu. Another cloud of smoke appeared as a yellow toad with blue markings and the same vest as Gamikachi stepped out of the cloud and spoke in a nasally voice, "Hey Ni-chan, what's going on? Are there any treats around?" The orange toad answered his brother, "Hey Gamatatsu, we got a new summoner and he doesn't have any snacks." "What an asshole. Shut up you shitty little frog, why would I give anything to a worthless shrimp like you?" "Whoa, hold it kid, first of all we're toads, not frogs or shrimp. And if you expect one of us to help out then you better have something to give us, kinda like you scratch my back and I scratch yours. Let's go home Tatsu, I think Mai is making some honeybee fritters." "Okay Ni-chan, I love honeybees, so sweet." The two toads disappeared and Naruto kept trying to summon, and he was mainly getting tadpoles and other baby toads that would be useless in battle. Eventually Jiraiya's sides cramped from all the laughing and he called Naruto off. "Oh my stomach, that's enough kid, I can't handle it anymore." Naruto fumed at the man. "Maybe if you helped me instead of making fun of me and laughing all day I could have got it down." Waving the boy off, Jiraiya answered, "Nah, it wouldn't have made a difference seeing as you're pretty much hopeless, and spoon feeding is not my style anyway. I'll show you what to do and let you work the kinks out yourself. If I tell you what to do step by step, then are you really learning anything? If you don't like it, tough luck, go back to your other sensei. You know I don't give up Hiro-senin, I'll get this down soon T-by-O." Locking his arms above the head, the Jonin stretched and asked, "Are we doing anything else then, you worthless pervert?" After looking up at the sun's position, Jiraiya reached into his coat before pulling out a scroll, book, and calligraphy brush. "Fine kid, if you're still raring to go I'll teach you some Fuin Jutsu. Read this book on your own time, but for now you have to do some calligraphy until your handwriting is absolutely flawless. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, alright let's get to work guys. You read the book, and the rest of you go get more writing supplies and start practicing." Jiraiya was impressed by the ingenuity of the training method. Not a bad idea using shadow clones to train. I guess using that method there's a small possibility even a nobody like you could become a decent ninja years from now. Well, if your clones are going to practice the calligraphy, I guess I could teach you something else that's useful to know. Naruto began bouncing on the balls of his feet hearing that. "Is it some sort of super jutsu that made you a legend?" Jiraiya laughed at Naruto's excitement before answering, "I guess you could say it helped make me a legend, but it's not a jutsu. I would say that it's more like a training method. I'll be teaching you meditation." Naruto face scrunched up in confusion. "Meditation? How did that help make you a legend? All you do is sit still till you fall asleep. Not bothering to respond, Jiraiya made some hand seals before slamming his palms onto the ground. Doden, Doriuso, Earth Release, Earth Flow Spears, and 2 large spikes rose out of the ground about 20 feet before the Sennin tapped his foot onto a patch of dirt, and 2 square stone slabs separated from the earth that he threw up on top of the spears so they balanced perfectly. There's a lot of practical uses for meditation. It clears your mind, allowing your thought process to flow better. Practicing meditation also allows you to practice tuning out distractions, which will help when you have to battle in a chaotic environment, and there are tons of other things that it can lead to down the road. We won't be doing traditional meditation because I think ordinary is boring. You must become perfectly still and balance on the platform like this. Jiraiya casually jumped 30 feet in the air and landed in the middle of one of the platforms with his legs crossed, not disturbing the slab one bit. No sweat, Uro Sennin. If a fat old lecher like you can do it, then so can a future Hokage. T-Bio. Naruto jumped, but as soon as he landed, the platform toppled over and he braced for impact and landed face first after falling 20 feet before the slab of rock crushed him further into the surprisingly soft dirt. Luckily for you, I also loosened the dirt around the spikes, so you better not complain. Now carry that thing up here before you try again, you pathetic excuse of a ninja. Eyes gaining a determined glint, Naruto ascended the spike and placed the platform on the point before letting go and trying to jump on it again. He did better, but fell after about 5 seconds of trying to maintain his balance on the wobbling platform. Jiraiya watched as he fell down, this time avoiding the slab before it crashed into him once again. Look at it this way, Gaki, you're not only training in meditation but also getting agility training, dodging practice, and a physical workout. I'm glad your dumbass scheme worked when you fought my clone, because this is almost as entertaining as peeping. The next day Naruto arrived in the same clearing before joining Jiraiya for a pupil master peep bonding session before he was led away from the clearing to a large gorge about a couple miles outside of the west gates, where Kakashi was waiting in a wide field by a large fissure in the earth reading his new blue book. I didn't know there was a big canyon out here. Turning to his new student, Jiraiya answered, well, you never know what's out there till you look. That's one of the appeals of traveling. Once they got within shouting distance of Kakashi, Jiraiya's voice boomed out, Kakashi, good to see you early. Giving the man a one-eyed glare, Kakashi answered, you told me to meet you out here 3 hours ago. Ignoring the masked man, Jiraiya turned to his new apprentice, alright Naruto, Kakashi here is going to teach you a new chakra control exercise for some of your clones to do, while others will continue to practice calligraphy, and 2 of your clones will read these books and another will finish the one I gave you yesterday. Jiraiya held out 2 books, one on desert survival techniques and the other was a seal identification and application text. While your clones are doing that, you will continue to practice summoning, and I want you to practice meditation on your own time. I made you something to help. He handed Naruto a large thick square of wood, and a cone that was about 3 feet high. You can use this to practice when you have a little downtime, Kakashi continued when Jiraiya finished as he lifted his eye from the book to look at his student. Alright Naruto, I'll explain the chakra control exercise. Jiraiya is going to make a depression about 15 feet deep before drawing some seals on the bottom connected to another one that he drew over there the other day. When I activated, a large whirlpool will form and your clones will have to walk on it, so make a large number for today because I have a feeling that a lot will dispel when they fail. As Kakashi was speaking, Jiraiya made the large bond and was fluently inscribing a seal into the rock using his chakra before he connected it to smaller seal that looked similar outside the depression. He then summoned several toads around the size of a small house that quickly filled it with water. Naruto then made several hundred cage bunshine that got to work on the assigned tasks while he pierced his thumb on one of his sharp canines before making some hand signs and shouting out Kushios no Jutsu, and summoned a toad about twice the size of Namikaze, who was a light red with yellow markings and lines that started at its eyes and descended down her whole body to the tips of her webbed fingers and toes, who introduced herself after the smoke cleared. My name is Gamatora. I am surprised that you summoned me. I am very unreliable, you see. Sweat dropping at the small toad, Naruto answered, nice to meet you, I'm Naruto, and I'm sure that's not true. I bet you're very reliable. I'm just practicing so you can go home anytime you want. The toad gave him a smile before speaking in that weird way, thank you. You are very nice, Naruto. I shall tell my father. If I don't forget. I'm not very reliable after all. Sighing as the toad dispersed, Naruto continued to practice as he summoned tadpoles, Namikaze and Tatsu, and several other smaller toads that weren't as big as Gamatora. Jiraiya kept on giving him a contemplative look before lifting his head and staring at the gorge, and Naruto was getting a little nervous. Alright kid, it's obvious that this method of training isn't going to work after all. I guess you're not as good as the Ondaime was, not that I'm surprised a small fry like you couldn't measure up to a once-in-a-lifetime prodigy. Naruto growled at the man's jab at his height and ninja skills. Just you watch Uro-sen and I'll get this down in no time once I master whirlpool walking, T-by-o. The hermit poked him in the forehead before responding, I wouldn't hold my breath Gaki, you're pretty pathetic. Shut up you perverted old fart, I'll do whatever it takes to master this, T-by-o. Raising his brow at that statement the senin gave him a strange smile, anything huh? I knew there was a reason why I made you my apprentice short stuff. Alright, let's get drastic. As soon as he finished Naruto closed his eyes as the finger was coming at him again. He found it poke him in the exact same spot it did earlier, except unlike last time it suddenly felt like he was flying through the air and as he opened his eyes he saw that he was falling into the gorge and heard Kakashi's voice ring out, what did you do? Naruto tried to use the date Appa to slow his descent, but it really did nothing for him so he tried to stick to the spikes using chakra next, but they were too wet and slippery to stop because of his speed. Knowing he only had one chance left Naruto bit his thumb and formed the necessary seals before yelling out Kushios no Jutsu but all he got was the worthless tiny orange toad that started screaming at him, summon my dad or we're going to go splat. Naruto tried to form the hand seals again but something stopped him as he felt his consciousness being pulled somewhere. He blacked out for a second and was suddenly in a sewer in front of an enormous cage made of large lead bars each several times wider and taller than the Hokage tower with inscriptions inlaid in gold going up and down their lengths and a small paper slip with the kanji for seal on it held the gargantuan gates together somehow. As Naruto was slowly walking forward as if drawn toward the magnificent cage when he heard a slow threatening growl that made him stop in his tracks as two large menacing red eyes with slit pupils became visible from the darkness within followed by a malevolent smile that revealed large sharp teeth, each one easily 3 times the size of Jiraiya and looked like they could tear anything to shreds. The teeth parted as a gale of putrid breath overtook Naruto before a dark rumbling voice addressed him. Come closer boy so that I may rip that accursed eye from your head and savor its sweetness before rending the flesh from your bones. Naruto was only this terrified when facing a furious Sakura, and the creature in front of him might have been scarier, I don't know, I'd need them to be side to side to discover who was the most horrifying. Naruto gathered his courage while looking at the predatory eyes and wickedly sharp teeth. So this is the Kyuubi no Kitsune, well if this fuzzball thinks he can intimidate me from behind those bars with a pair of eyes and pointy teeth then he obviously doesn't know Uzumaki fucking Naruto all that well shove a sock in it fuzzy wuzzy, the way I see it you're trapped inside me and you've been living there rent-free for a while, so you will give me your chakra when I ask. The Kyuubi laughed and Naruto instinctively shivered when he heard the terrible sound, you've got guts kid, but not a lot of brains if you are demanding anything from me. I'll tell you what. If you rip out that eye I'll give you chakra whenever you need it, which should be often considering how worthless you are on your own. Naruto clenched his fists in anger at the suggestion. Shut up you stupid fox, I'm not asking I'm demanding. Give me your chakra. Unbeknownst to Naruto his sharingan was in its Mangekyo form and it began spinning rapidly as the same pattern appeared in the Kyuubi's eyes. Chakra began to leak out of the cage as it bubbled together and shaped itself to look like the torso of a large kitsune as Naruto reached out to touch its nose a small amount of red chakra pulled away from the mass and encased his hand before covering the rest of his body. He touched the nose and the chakra dispersed in countless bubbles before it was sucked back into the cage. As the sewer started to fade the Kyuubi was roaring in rage at being controlled again. See you later fuzz fuzz. Jiraiya was keeping a steady eye on the gorge while Kakashi was yelling in his ear about how he should have never agreed to let the Sennin train Naruto. Sticking a pinky finger in his ear to clear any buildup from the yelling Jiraiya cut Kakashi off, I forgot that Minato coddled the 3 of you when you were on his team, but I teach a little bit differently. I'm more of the do or die type of sensei. You better hope you live a long life because when you see Kushina again she's going to skin you and pour lemon juice on you before rolling you in salt, and I'm sure that will just be a warm-up. Jiraiya shivered at the thought of the violent redhead before he explained himself to the Jounin. Listen Kakashi, Naruto needs to think he's in a life or death situation to consciously access the Kyuubi's power the first time and learn to pull on it. The beast is a potent tool that he would do well to master. Besides, he's not in any real danger. Giving the oddest member of the Sannin a blank stare Kakashi questioned, how is falling down around 500 feet not in any real danger? TSK Kakashi, this is no longer 500 feet deep crack, last night I came here and using earth manipulation I widened it so a large toad could easily fit and made it about a quarter mile deep. While at the bottom I inscribed some seals that release a constant stream of wind into the air that will be enough to cushion his fall. He'll land softly I assure you, for that is the prowess of the gallant Jiraiya. Kakashi stared in awe at the power of one of the Sannin as Jiraiya laughed loudly. Sandaime-sama wanted me to take the seat when I have no doubt that any one of the Sannin would defeat me without really trying. If he's this worried about Akatsuki, maybe I should up the intensity of my training. Jiraiya suddenly stopped laughing and paled as a deep voice boomed out of the canyon. Jiraiya, why have you summoned me in a place like this? And who's this runt on my head? Get out here, you lecher, so I can sit on you. Oh shit, why'd you have to go and summon him? Naruto, Gamabunta, Gamma Hero, and Gamaken were sitting in Ken's bar at Mount Myaboku drinking Dode Firebrand's sake and reminiscing about the good old days. The red and orange Dode with a large scar over his left eye and a blue happy vest with a large dose of prop next to him lit a pipe and exhaled. I remember the time that Jiraiya actually had the nerve to summon me into the desert to fight a battalion of Suna Shinobi and the Jinchuriki of the Shukaku of all fucking people. Well, the battalion was easy enough, just a Gamma Yuenden, Toad oil flame bullet, caused enough chaos before we lit the Shukaku on fire with another one that overtook one of his wind blasts, turning the sand glass before Jiraiya shattered it with an earth spear that woke the host up as they retreated. A toad just as large as Gamabunta was behind the bar as he played with a full bottle of sake before taking a large swig. He was a horned toad with magenta skin and black markings around his horns, eyes, arms, and legs. He was wearing a black kimono with a white sash, and standing in front of a black Sasumata almost as tall as he was mounted on a large, even for a giant toad, sake dish that was hanging on the wall. Once, I was summoned by Jiraiya. He needed to stop a large tidal wave, you see. It was about to crash over a village. But I stopped it with my saucer. Even though I'm ungraceful. The toad sitting to his left had two-tone skin with aquamarine on his stomach and dark green on his back. He had yellow eyes that had gray markings around them with an orange sash on his waist and two large katanas strapped to his back. That's nothing. During the Third War, Iwa boxed in a large amount of Konoha shinobi in a canyon they created as a trap, but before they could capitalize, Jiraiya summoned me, squishing the entire force at the exit before I killed all the nin lined up on top with my katana that were preparing to collapse the walls of the canyon to kill the leaf nin. Buna just grunted. Jiraiya only summoned you because you have the fattest ass. Gamaken responded to the chief toad. But Gamabunta, remember when you fought Hanzo? You couldn't move for 2 weeks. Jiraiya should have summoned me. I would have gotten the job done, even if I'm clumsy. Gamma Hero grabbed another bottle off the back shelf with his tongue and pulled the cork out. You would have gotten beaten even worse, Ken. He should have summoned all three of us to that fight. Bunta harumphed at his subordinate's lack of respect before adding his 2 cents. I was just a little too drunk that day. The fight probably would have gone a lot better if he did bring us all out though. Once the Gamma Trinity was on the scene, the enemy lost all hope. It was always a hell of a rumble when all of us showed up. Their nostalgia was interrupted when Ken's daughter Gamatora bounced in under the saloon-style doors. Hey To-san. I had something to tell you. I forgot what it was though. I guess I'm just unreliable. When Tora finished, Gamabunta disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Oh yeah. We have a new summoner. He is very nice. He even said I wasn't unreliable. Ken just looked wistfully at his Sasumata and shield. It's a good thing I didn't get summoned. I lack coordination, you see. Gamabunta felt the disorientation of being summoned fade quickly as he realized that he was in a canyon with a steady breeze that was blowing on his exposed ass. There was also a terrible bloodlust in the air that the chief toad felt he should recognize. Twisting his neck violently after not seeing the pervert on his head, his voice bounced off the walls of the ravine before it boomed out. Jiraiya, why have you summoned me in a place like this? And who's this runt on my head? Get over here, you lecher, so I can sit on you. The chief toad looked closer at the figure standing on his head as he recognized the bloodlust. No wonder it's familiar. That's the Kyuubi's chakra around that blonde. So this is your son Minato, and Jiraiya finally let him sign the contract. Let's see if he's made of the same stuff you were? Hey you pipsqueak, what are you doing on my head? Where's Jiraiya? I need to punish him for summoning me here. The toad fought down a wince when the blonde stomped his foot in frustration. Shut up, you stupid toad, I summoned you so that make me your master. Gamabunta almost choked on the smoke he was inhaling when he heard that. Who do you think you are? I'm the chief toad, and there's no way that I have to take orders from a pathetic Genin that couldn't summon me if his life depended on it. Naruto's sweat dropped at the irony of that statement. Hey, I know what irony is now, take that I'm not a moron. Suddenly the small orange toad next to him spoke up. Hey Pops, this kid definitely summoned you. I watched him do it. The boss toad cursed his son under his breath. Kichi, what are you doing here? May, I was just hanging out with Naruto. I used to think he was kinda lame, but now I think he's actually pretty cool. Taking a puff on his pipe, the boss toad exhaled. Well, I know my son isn't a liar, so I guess you did summon me. But if you want to be one of my henchmen you have to pass my test. Bunta watched as the kid took on a determined posture. Bring it on, you big warty toad. I'm Uzumaki Naruto and I can take anything you can dish out. D-by-o. Show me some respect, Gaki. Anyways, here are the terms. I'm gonna jump around until sunset, and if you can stay on my head I'll help you in battle after we share a drink. After finishing, the toad jumped into the air as his head almost touched the clouds before descending and shaking his head all over the place trying to dislodge the blonde. After 3 hours passed, the boss toad was pretty impressed because he just broke his dad's record through sheer willpower, and he was probably about 3 years younger than Minato when he did it too. The Genin stopped using chakra a while ago, probably because his reserves were running low, and now he had a death grip on one of the large warts on Bunta's head. The toad started to shake even harder as the boy flew off before he closed his eye and was surrounded by a thin veil of the malevolent chakra before he shot a large wind bullet that propelled him back towards the toad until he smashed into the toad's back and got a grip on his vest before using his claws to pull himself up to the neck. He then jumped back to the top of its head, apparently refilled with energy as he held on defiantly. After another hour the red haze faded and he once again held on for dear life. The blonde somehow managed to hang on for another 2 hours before he slipped into unconsciousness and fell off the head just as the sun started to dip below the horizon. The toad caught the boy in his tongue before tucking him safely into a pocket. Not bad, kid, you may not have made it but you've earned my respect and the right to summon toads. We'll have to get a drink soon. After saying his piece, Gamabunda jumped to the village before depositing him in front of the hospital where several nurses ran out before carrying the boy inside to treat him. Sakura walked towards the Yamanaka residence to meet with Chika-sensei to learn a poison and jutsu. Rin was going to be in surgery all day today, so Sakura scheduled some training with the blonde poison mistress. She arrived just as Ino's mom was unlocking the door to get in the house. Sakura, right on time. Just let me change out of the shop uniform and we can go to the training ground. The Genin deposited herself before picking up a magazine that was on the table. Konoha Kunoichi Monthly, Teenage Version A. Let's see. Top 10 Hottest Shinobi in Konoha Under 20, How to Look Sexy but Still Be Practical, Landing the Shinobi of Your Dreams. What is this crap? I'm glad I cancelled my subscription. I mean, who really cares about all that garbage anyway? She was broken from her thoughts when the door opened and a blonde girl Sakura's age walked in. Think of the devil and she will appear. Forehead, what are you doing in my house? Her brow was ticking as Sakura answered her formal rival in love. I'm waiting for your mom. She said she'd show me a jutsu because my sensei is busy today. Getting a smug smile. Oh, I see, you're the leftover student and have to get lessons from anyone you can. Shut up, pig. I'm at least 10 times the kunoichi that you are. I have 2 sensei for your information, and the one that was supposed to teach me today is in surgery, so your mom is showing me some tricks because you're too pathetic to learn anything she knows. Ino was practically frothing at the mouth. Please, the only reason you were better than me in the academy was the freakish brain behind the billboard above your eyes. You're so pathetic that Sasuke-kun needed to step in and save you and your worthless teammate and died because of it. Sakura was in front of Ino before she could react and was hoisting her in the air by her collar. Don't talk about my team like that. Naruto isn't pathetic and neither am I. I'd like to see what would have happened if you guys had to fight Momochi Zabuza and his apprentice. Your whole team probably would have been killed right off the bat because he could just follow the snorting sound you make when you sleep. Ino tried to break Sakura's death grip on her shirt. Yeah, right, Foreheadosaurus. I bet my team could take down yours any day of the week. Oh yeah, Porker, talk to your sensei and I'll talk to mine and we'll plan out a team spar. What's going on here, girls? Sakura dropped Ino roughly on her rear. Nothing, Chika-sensei, just catching up. Putting her hands on her hips, the older blonde began to scold the girls. You used to be such good friends too. Ooh, I have an idea. Ino, why don't you come to the training ground with us? I bet I have some moves I could show you as well. The purple-eyed woman had both girls by the ear in a flash before she shunshined them all to a training field. Alright Ino, I'm going to get Sakura started on the jutsu first and then I'll teach you how to use my favorite weapons. Ino flipped her long hair over her shoulder. That's fine, mom. Forehead needs all the help she can get. Sakura ignored the blonde as she flaunted her long hair as if looking down at Sakura's before she addressed her sensei. What am I learning, Chika-sensei? Giving the green-eyed girl a smile, the blonde answered, I'm going to be teaching you Ninpo, Tokagiri, Ninja Art, Poison Fog. If you've been eating the ingredients separately for the poisons like I've been telling you to, then this should be no problem. It's a B-rank jutsu, but that is because of the chakra control needed, which is your specialty, and if you mix the poison too early in your body it could affect you instead of your enemy. After demonstrating the hand seals and explaining how to use her chakra to isolate the ingredients stored in her body before mixing and expelling them towards the opponent, Chika watched Sakura's first attempt as she vomited a strange blackish-purple sludge. "So you're going with a paralyzing poison, I see." After making sure the pink hit was okay, she turned her attention to her daughter with a predatory smile. "Oh Ino dear, did mommy ever tell you how good she is with a whip and a bladed tisen?" The blonde gulped at the tone of voice and prepared for the worst. The two girls dragged their feet behind the cheerfully whistling blonde in front of them. Sakura looked like she was going to throw up, and Ino had countless little cuts marring her previously flawless skin. Sakura split off from the blonde duo, telling Ino she would see her later that night when she went out to eat with her and Tenten. Despite her weary state, there was a feeling of hope welling up in the girl that she might be able to get her best friend back. Sakura got some herbs from her stash in the room and began munching on them to calm her nausea. "I should bring some of these with me when I practice this next time." After her stomach stopped doing flips, Sakura entered the shower before changing into some tight black jeans and a red camisole over a white tank top. Grabbing her purse, she rushed to the restaurant with butterflies dancing in her stomach as she felt excited, anxious, and nervous all at the same time. Tenten was already waiting, so they got a booth as she explained to the hostess and her friend that there would be another person joining them. The brunette looked surprised before asking, "Who's coming?" "Ooh, I bet it's your teammate. You know, he stopped by the training grounds to ask Guy a question. Since you're not interested, I think I might go after him." Sakura's brow twitched as her stomach twisted and bubbled uncomfortably. "You don't want to date Naruto? He's a nice guy to have as a friend, but he's not your type." "I don't know, I do like blondes, and those whisker things on his face give him a wild look that just sends shivers down my spine. Lee also talks about him all the time, and if Naruto can keep up with him and my sensei, then he's got to have a rockin' body, even for a shinobi." Sakura tried to dissuade her friend. "No, don't be silly, Tenten. Don't you have Neji Hyuga on your team? I heard from some older girls that he's really dreamy. Wouldn't you rather date him than Naruto?" Tenten adopted a thoughtful pose. "Neji is certainly attractive, but he's also feminine in ways as well as cold and stuck up. From what you say, Naruto is warm, friendly, and funny. Plus from what I've seen, he's all man." Sakura growled under her breath as inner Sakura burst through, "Hell yeah, Naruto's all man. But he's also all ours, so choke that bitch out before she gets any more bright ideas. Also make sure she never sees his abs. I want to play them like a redneck plays a washboard." Her inner persona was suddenly wearing a straw hat, overalls, and had a stem of weed in her mouth while she was drinking a jug of moonshine and scratching a washboard. Before Sakura could respond to Tenten, a voice rang out behind her. "Oh, so Sakura has a crush on the dead last." Turning in surprise, Sakura saw her frenemy standing outside their booth. The blonde was all dolled up with her nails freshly painted, with a small black dress that probably cost more than what Tenten spent on weapons a week, which means a shit ton. The blonde was also wearing a platinum necklace and matching bracelets on both wrists. Blushing, she continued to deny, "Naruto is not a dead last, and I don't have a crush on him." The blonde sat next to Sakura and bumped her farther into the booth with her hip. "Whatever you say, but you defended him before denying that you had a crush, and you were all up in arms when I insulted him earlier today." Turning, she faced the brunette. "Hi, I'm Ino, it's nice to meet you." Giving her a polite smile, Tenten introduced herself. "Hi Ino, I'm Tenten, it's nice to meet you as well." Before Tenten and Ino could continue to tease Sakura, the earth shook and the populace all seemed to be staring westward. The girls rushed out of the restaurant to witness one of the strangest sights of their young lives. There was a light red toad with darker red markings around his eyes, wearing a blue vest that was considerably taller than the Hokage Tower and looked like he couldn't fit through the massive main gates of the village. It was jumping incredibly high in the air and flailing his head around wildly as if he was trying to get something off. Sakura was picking up snippets of the villagers' conversations and hearing Gamabunta and Jiraiya mentioned quite a bit, and was beginning to connect the dots as Ino asked, "What's going on? Are we under attack or something?" Tenten looked around at the crowd. "No, the people aren't panicking. They look excited for some reason." Before Sakura could present her theory, the toad's voice washed over the village. "God damn it, you blonde rat. Get the hell off my head, Naruto." Sighing, the pink cat looked around to see the surprised looks of the populace as they broke out into frenzied whispers and mutterings as she sighed and shook her head. "I'm really not surprised that Naruto would upset a giant toad big enough to crush him like a fly." Tenten looked to be thinking, "You know, I think that's a summon like Guy Sensei's turtles. Even he can't summon one that big, though he assures me that there are some. That's pretty impressive. Maybe I should pursue Naruto after all. Also, if he summoned a toad, then that means that Jiraiya-sama, who people say is the strongest Sannin, must have shown him how to at some point." Ino and Tenten fix their questioning stares on Sakura. Yes, Naruto is getting trained by Jiraiya, though for a legendary ninja he's not that impressive in person. Seeing the giant toad makes me re-evaluate my opinion of him though. The group went back inside and took their seats and opened their menus as Ino idly played with her ponytail while thinking, why would one of the Sannin train Naruto? I mean, he was always so hopeless in school. Sakura turned the page in her menu. Ino, I told you Naruto isn't a dead last. I think that if he had someone to give him individual attention from day one, and he actually tried instead of just skipping class all the time, then he might have challenged Sasuke for Rookie of the Year, and maybe even won. He apparently graduated because he learned an A-rank clone jutsu, that's also a kinjutsu, in just a couple hours. Then after the disaster that happened in Nami he's gotten so much stronger. It takes me and our other teammates working together to even have a chance at taking him down. He even managed to dispel Jiraiya-sama's shadow clone, which is why he's getting trained by him. Ino gave Sakura a weird smile. You know, if you don't like Naruto I might make Tenten my new rival. I mean, now that Sasuke-kun is gone there aren't many catches around our age. I bet he'd look cute if he wasn't wearing orange all the time. Tenten hopped in the teasing session. Oh, he is. I saw him last week talking to my sensei and he looked pretty studly. And my favorite kind of muffin is stud muffin. Ino was about to continue but wisely changed the subject when she saw Sakura's face darken and felt the air start to chill. So Sakura, what's with your hair? You realize that nobody would ever date you with that massive forehead of yours, so you just gave up? I mean, those clothes are so plain too. When's the last time you went shopping? Sakura's eyes rolled at her frivolous friend. Sorry Ino, but unlike you I want to save my money. Besides, I take my duties as a kunoichi seriously, which is why I cut my hair. To show my resolve, leave my regrets behind, and signal a change in my life. Maybe you should consider doing the same. I mean, you were ready to give up after an hour and a half of training with your mom. I was just getting warmed up too. You'd better start exercising more, porker, if you want to have a chance in our team match. Before Ino could retort, the waitress came to take the orders. The brunette put down her menu first before ordering. Yes, I'd like a rack of teriyaki ribs, and a large side of pork fried rice. Ino looked at the girl in surprise before Sakura ordered, I'll have the 12-ounce miso steak with teriyaki broccoli and white rice please. Ino's mouth was almost at the table before she lifted her jaw and ordered, I'll have the small sushi combo plate and the garden salad, please. As the waitress left, Ino turned to the two girls. Geese, are you guys trying to fatten up? Did Naruto knock you up and now you're eating for two forehead, or does he like a little meat on the bones? Sakura was blushing at the accusation. Shut up Ino. I actually trained hard today and plan to again tomorrow, so I need my calories. Maybe if you were a real kunoichi you'd know what I was talking about. Ino scoffed at her rival. Yeah right, I'm just as much of a kunoichi as you, forehead. Sakura waved her off. I doubt it. I would still be acting just like you if Sasuke didn't die, Ino. It took the death of my comrade to set me on the right path, and I hope that it doesn't take something like that for you to get serious. The conversation died out after the depressing reminder of Sasuke, and they ate their food mostly in silence, occasionally asking to try the other's meal or complimenting the chef. After they finished and paid the bill, they left the restaurant before going their separate ways. Bye Ino, bye Tenten, it was fun. Oh, by the way Piglet, I look forward to kicking your ass when we have that team spar. Skipping away before the blonde responded, Sakura went home feeling glad that she ran into her old rival. It's been 3 weeks since Jiraiya took on another apprentice, and he was once again feeling that rewarding sensation when you watched your pupil master an exercise. He completed whirlpool walking and was working on whirlpool making, which was the other beginner Uzumaki control exercise. To do this, one would stand neck deep in still water and expel chakra in short rapid bursts from all over your body in a circular motion that would rotate the water around you and form a whirlpool. It was considerably harder than whirlpool walking, but with his shadow clones his godson was making steady progress. The kid can also summon useful toads now, even though he still couldn't summon any of the larger ones without using the QB, but the other day he summoned Gamahatsu, who was the size of a moose. Naruto also inherited his father and mother's prodigious skills in Fuun Jutsu. Or he was an idiot savant, one of the two. The Jonin easily learned the basic storage seal and was slowly branching out and modifying it and learning more advanced ones like element storage seals. The kid also was insistent that he learn a resistance seal for some reason that he wouldn't disclose. However, the most fun was explosive seals. His student made an accidental breakthrough when working on a seal, and it seemed like divine inspiration when he increased the thickness of the strokes in the chakra storage unit and added extra pathways to send the chakra to the ignition part of the seal, creating a bigger boom. Of course, when you have a potentially unlimited source of slave labor that was mass-producing supercharged explosive notes, you execute some really harebrained schemes. Like lining a section at the bottom of the ravine Naruto was tossed into with exploding tags and detonating it, causing the surrounding earth to implode, which almost killing them. It was worth it though, and was easily one of the biggest booms Jiraiya had ever seen, next to the Tsushigoma forbidden jutsu and a couple dust element techniques. 1,000 explosive seals tweaked to hold more chakra, creating a bigger blast was nothing to sneeze at though. Hell, Jiraiya had to summon Game Abundant to help charge all of tags. Naruto also made great strides in the meditation drill, though Jiraiya still gets his chuckles whenever his bumbling apprentice lost concentration and fell off the spike. The Sennin entered the training grounds with the blonde after some morning training to see Kakashi reading his new book with the other brats on Naruto's team who were nothing to sneeze at, if what he saw during their team exercises was anything to go by. Looking to the left he saw Asuma. Oh man, that brings me back to the old days. I remember when Sensei gave us D-rank missions to watch this brat. I wonder if I can make some money off this sucker for some payback for peeing on me while changing him. Giving Asuma a nod and a smile, he noticed Smoking Jonin's eyes widened. His mouth fell open though when the little blonde girl who will definitely be peep-worthy in 4 to 5 years whispered something in his ear. Damn, that might foil my plan to hustle him. Giving Asuma's team a better inspection, he realized it was another Inoshikacho trio. They really need to mix that up every now and again. I guess if it ain't broke don't fix it, but where's the soul or the creativity? Imagine giving the Nara his own personal army of shadow clones to play with, that would have been brilliant. Or maybe putting the Mind Walker with that sexy genjutsu lady. Mind techniques and genjutsu mixed together, that would have been frightening. Or possibly placing the Akimichi with the Hyuga and that Uchiha kid, the perfect blend of close, mid and long range combat. Tradition is all well and good, but it's about to get its ass kicked by Naruto's team. Walking closer to the two Genon squads, he sees that the pink and yellow-haired future beauties were bickering about some stupid teenage girl thing. The creepy-looking pale kid is drawing. The Nara is asleep. Standing up, and the Akimichi was devouring a bag of chips. Yo Asuma, it's been a long time. Started smoking like the old man I see. Weren't you always telling him to quit when you were a kid? Taking his cigarette out of his mouth, Asuma asks, Jiraiya-sama, what are you doing here? Oh, you know this and that. I had to hand deliver some information to the old monkey and I ran into Blondie over there. He impressed me so I'm showing him some tricks while I'm in town. Giving Jiraiya a suspicious look. So he impressed you, he must have been something if you're teaching him after vowing never to take on another student. Scratching his head sheepishly, Jiraiya said, yeah, well he's a natural at Fyu and Jutsu, so I felt obligated because it's a dying art and nobody could really help the kid around here. So, is there going to be some super epic catfight to the death here for my new apprentice by these two lovely young ladies? As Jiraiya waggled his eyebrows in a perverted manner as he was blindsided by a rock the pink-haired devil threw at him and fell on his face. Hentai. Me and Ino aren't fighting over Naruto. The blonde-haired one gave her friend a smile. Don't worry Sakura, I won't steal your precious Naruto-kun from you. He's cute but not my type. You're lucky though, if I tried it wouldn't be much of a fight. She then cradled up to the creepy pale-haired kid who might be hit for the other team as he gave no indication that there was a cute girl shoving his arm into her budding breasts. I like dark and mysterious boys like Sai-kun. Giving the blonde his creepy smile, Sai said, if you like me and we are friends, can I give you a nickname? Naruto and Sakura, still red-faced from the teasing, were trying to hold in their laughter by stuffing their fists into their mouths as Ino nodded. Okay, well I just read a book I really enjoyed and you look like one of the characters, so I will call you Gollum. Actually, I like Smeagol as well, so I will interchange them when I address you. Ino looked like she was about to go into shock or kill Sai. Before either could happen, Asuma pulled her away while saying, okay, let's get this thing started, so form up and get ready. When the two teams were facing each other in the middle of the training ground, Asuma waited for a dramatic gust of wind to blow the debris around the field. Once some dead leaves started swirling in a breeze, even though it's spring, Asuma chopped his hand through the air. Hajime. After starting the match, he jumped back with Jiraiya and Kakashi to watch. So Asuma, care to make a little wager? I bet that Team 7 takes down your whole squad without losing a member. Sorry Jiraiya-sama. I may be a betting man, but I don't think my team can beat the number 2 ranked Genon team in Konoha, according to two Anbu captains, my dad, and Ibiki. Asuma lit a cigarette before continuing. I've also heard rumors that the two Anbu were so impressed that they are considering recruiting the team into their ranks should they make Chunin this time around. That had Jiraiya scratching his chin. Maybe if the brat gets into Anbu, I can let them polish the kid a little bit before I take him on the road and really get his training started. I know that he would be in good hands seeing as Kakashi is the head of Anbu. Putting the thought aside for later consideration, Jiraiya turned his attention to the fight and saw that Naruto had created several squads of shadow clones that were assaulting Team 10 and testing their defenses. Kuuji was using the Bubun Baika no Jutsu, partial multi-size technique, to fend off their attacks decently well. Some clones started running down his enlarged arms till the blonde Kunoichi destroyed them with some well-placed kunai, but the smoke made as they dispelled impaired their vision as an inkbird burst through the cloud before barreling into the pleasantly plump teen. The clones tried to press the advantage while Sakura was launching some kunai at the two as they defended their recovering teammate. Some more inkbirds tried to swoop down and assault the teens, but Shikamaru and Ino held their ground as two giant hands destroyed the constructs. Team 10 found no respite though as shadow clones launched a barrage of Fuuma Shuriken they avoided as Kuuji used the Baika no Jutsu, multi-size technique, before turning into a rolling ball of punch that bowled over several clones Shikamaru captured in his caged main, shadow imitation technique, to get some breathing room. Sakura launched some poison senbon that bounced off the ball and he charged through the gas she threw in front of him completely unaffected before he cleared a path allowing his teammates to follow him and escape into the woods. Team 7 gave pursuit and sounds of battle started to echo from the woods for several minutes before explosions rocked the forest followed by the sound Naruto's maniacal laughter as Shikamaru and Ino chased after Kuuji's flailing body as it tumbled through the air and back into the clearing bouncing off the ground as he rolled towards the middle of the training ground. Team 7 was rapidly advancing along with several squads of clones rushing ahead of them on their flanks trying to complete a pincer movement on their fellow Genin. Team 10 broke through when Shikamaru used the cage main to take over the dozen clones assaulting them before jumping back to create a gap. They may have escaped but the Nara started breathing heavily after executing the shadow techniques as they clearly used up a lot of his chakra. The beleaguered Genin were bombarded by ink creatures, poison senbon and gas, along with several squads of cage bunshine trying to coral them so they would be easy targets. The trio had to constantly dodge and had no room to counter and eventually their workhorse, Kuuji, was forced split up from Shikamaru and Ino. Two Fuuma Shuriken that were lying forgotten on the dirt transformed into Naruto clones that grabbed the pair's arms from behind and held kunai near their necks forcing their fleshy friend to surrender. As the battle ended Jiraiya burst out laughing. I'd never thought I would see the day where Inara would get outsmarted by a blonde of all people. Oh man, this kid is gonna give me an ulcer with all the laughing that I'm doing. Asuma had a localized rainstorm downpouring over his head as Sakura started taunting Ino giving her the peace sign and sticking her tongue out. Ha, take that pig. I told you my team was better, but if you work hard maybe one day I'll break a sweat when we fight. Shut up forehead, I'll take you one-on-one any day. Both teams went to the yakiniku barbecue place after the spar, on Asuma of course. Kakashi looked over the pages of his new precious at the two teams as they interacted. Ino was sitting at the end chatting with Sakura who was next to Naruto with Sai by the window. Kakashi was in the outside seat with Asuma next to him and Shikamaru was sitting farthest inside while Kuuji had the standard reinforced chairs used by restaurants to seat the Akimichi, and was placed at the end of the table. The girls were gossiping about old classmates while Naruto was in conversation with Shikamaru about something, and not surprisingly, Kakashi's fellow closet genius had a portable Go board that he pulled out of nowhere and was setting it up to play the blonde. Sai was watching them like, well Sai does, and Kuuji sat gazing longingly at the neighbor's sizzling grill while drooling. Kakashi waited for the girls' inane chatter to stop for 1 second before getting everyone's attention. You know, that was quite an impressive fight for two teams of rookie Genin, and I don't know about your team Asuma, but I was telling mine to hold back. The four members of Team 10 looked even more depressed once they heard that. I'd say you've all grown greatly since the academy. The food came right after he said that as the group placed the meat on the grill getting ready to try to get some meat before the gluttonous Akimichi. Sai ended up giving Shikamaru and Kuuji a nickname, and Kuuji might have to pay some damage fees later but Sai won't call him Chubby Wubby anymore. Probably. There's always a chance that pigs will fly someday. Shikamaru and Naruto continued their game while they ate and Shikamaru kept doing some weird thing with his hands before making a move every couple of turns. The closet genius won by the time that the meat was all cooked, but said he wouldn't mind playing Naruto again. Kakashi made eye contact with Asuma while the plates were being cleared and had a silent conversation with body language. Coughing to get everyone's attention, the elite Jounin began. Alright, I'm sure that all you guys are wondering why we've been pushing you especially hard these past 2 months. Letting the confusion settle in the Genin's minds, Kakashi enjoyed the looks on their faces for a couple of seconds before continuing. Well, the Chunin exams are in 2 weeks and we're nominating you guys. The exams are being held in Sunagaku, so my team will be kicking up individual training for the next week and a half when we will depart. His team looked thrilled for the opportunity, but it appeared Team 10's decisive loss at the hands of their classmates hurt their confidence a little. Kakashi wondered if they would pull out of the exam until his little pink-haired hellion taunted her blonde friend, "Ha, you better get a lot better really fast, piggy, otherwise I'll wipe the floor with you again. And this time it will be in front of an audience." The petite blonde raged at her. "Well, whatever they were, shut up, foreheadzilla, you got lucky this time. But I'll shove your face into the sand at the Chunin exams." Naruto took a deep breath as he neared the main gate to leave Tsuna. He practically brought all his possessions sealed into scrolls, and he also carried enough food and water courtesy of Jiraiya. Sometimes the letter really came through for him. He patted his pack containing 2 new sets of ninja tools courtesy of Kakashi and enough explosive tags to level half of Tsuna. Both Jiraiya and Kakashi said pack for anything, so he did by taking advantage of his new sealing abilities. Naruto was a little pissed that the super perverts said not to summon goats in the desert unless it was life or death situation. He would have attempted to strangle the perverted loon if he didn't promise a kick-ass jutsu when he made the finals. Naruto rounded the last corner and took in the Junon going to the exams and was surprised he knew almost half of the people attending. There was Ino, and it appeared she replaced her belt with a white whip that wrapped around her waist and had 2 folded fans and holsters on her thighs. Next to her were her teammates Shikamaru and Kuuji, looking the same as ever. He enjoyed hanging out with the lazy duo after their spar. They used to be running buddies when they were younger, but they couldn't keep up with the young Naruto for long. He was always acting like he was sugar high, probably something to do with the size of his body and the amount of chakra he had. They got together a couple times since he thoroughly kicked their asses, and Shikamaru could be fun when it wasn't troublesome, although he was dropping hints that he might know about the fox, but if he did then he obviously didn't care. Kuuji was also one of the most kind-hearted people that Naruto ever had the pleasure of meeting, and he was happy to say that he added 2 friends to his growing list. He also recognized Bushy Brow's team as well as Kiba with those 2 weird quiet kids that were also in this class. He looked behind him and noticed that Sakura was hurrying down the street as Sai landed next to him. They waited for the kunoichi of the team before walking into the crowd of Junon and Jounin Sensei. Kiba noticed the newcomers and greeted them. "Looks like everyone from the graduating class that made it is here, all the rookies back together." The tall kid in the green coat with a large collar stepped behind Kiba before tilting his head, allowing light to reflect of his sunglasses. "Yes, it is good to see our comrades are also traveling with us to the exams, because there is strength in numbers." The weird quiet girl blushed red and twiddled her index fingers together. "LL, let's do our best." Giving the girl a look, Naruto said, "Hey, that's no way to say it. Here, watch this." Naruto turned around and Misty Nada's face turned purple while he addressed the rest of the gathered ninja. "Listen up everyone, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, a member of Team 7, and I just want to let you all know who's going to be kicking your asses when we get to Tsunetibyo." Lee seemed to get all pumped up upon hearing Naruto's proclamation. Yosh, Naruto's flaming passions are at a peak. The strange boy bounded up to Naruto and the rookies. "Naruto, I am inspired by your enthusiasm this fine morning. Your youthful flame is truly blazing and I am in awe of your passion. If I cannot do better than you in the exams, I will crab walk all the way back to Konoha, and if I cannot do that, I will break a boulder with my hands, and if I cannot do that, then I shall strap the boulder to my back and swim across a lake, and if I cannot do that, Itai." Tenten came up behind Lee and grabbed his ear. "That's enough, Lee. Hey Sakura-chan, Ino-san." Naruto looked between Tenten and Sakura. You two know each other?" Giving her teammate a playful smack on the back of the head, Sakura sighed. "Yes, I do. Tenten and I would hang out when our schedules allowed it." Giving the pink head a cute pout, "Well, in her mind anyway," Naruto asked, "Sakura-chan, why didn't you ever introduce me to her?" "Yes, Sakura-chan, why didn't you ever introduce me to your teammate? He seems like someone I would really want to get to know better." Sakura scowled at Tenten. "Well, he's always busy training, and..." "Don't give me that look, Naruto. You never introduced me to your new friend." When she said that, Lee appeared before her on one knee with her left hand gently clasped in his faster than she could blink. He planted a kiss on it. "I am incredibly pleased such a beautiful flower wishes to know my name. I have heard yours is Sakura. Well, I am Rock Lee and I shall protect you with my life if you go out with me." Naruto was about to use his sharingan to show Lee visions where he was murdering Guy when he felt it. Sakura was pissed and thankfully it wasn't at him. She delivered a brutal kick right to Lee's chin that sent him flying past the gathered Jounin into the wall, leaving a considerably large dent in the thick stone. Kurenai raised an eyebrow. "What have you been teaching her, Kakashi? I can see the weights under his leg warmers and knowing God they must weigh a ridiculous amount." Marking his place in his new book, the silver-haired Jounin gave an eye smile and answered, "That has nothing to do with me. Sakura can be very scary sometimes." Naruto was really pissed and he didn't know why, looking on as Sakura tried to wipe her hand clean. He pulled out his bottle of rubbing alcohol for cleaning his hands after bathroom breaks on the road before taking her hand and pouring a little on and wiping it with a cloth. Sakura's face went beet red before she yelled baka and half-heartedly hit him, which sent him careening into the wall next to Lee. Well, at least he didn't leave an indent like the green-clad Junon. Ino gave Sakura a smile. "So cute, Sakura-chan is tsundere." Sakura just ignored her as a white-eyed girl gave her a glare from behind her teammates. Teammate walked up to join the mayhem, and Kiba tried to jump into the conversation as Naruto groggily stumbled back to the group. "So how do you know that weirdo Naruto?" Tenten sighed as Naruto answered, "Well, he may be strange, really strange, but Lee is also really good at taijutsu and I train with him in it." "Yeah, that makes sense. I guess you need all the help you can get and the only people that wanna be seen with you are the ones that deserve to be in a loony bin." Naruto gave Kiba a guttural growl that almost activated his fight-or-flight instinct, and he was leaning towards flight at the moment. "Yeah right, Mutt, I can wipe the floor with you, especially considering Akamaru is probably the brains of the operation." Kiba tried to give his own snarl but Naruto didn't budge before he answered, "Whatever, it's not like you aren't the dead last. And I could kick your ass, Mutt, so what does being worse than the dead last make you?" "Shut up, Dobi, I don't know why you even got nominated since you got Sasuke killed. Maybe if he had some competent teammates he'd still be alive." Naruto was about to draw on the Kyuubi and tear Kiba to shreds before the feeling of death washed over him. Sakura was almost as pissed as he'd ever seen her and thankfully it wasn't directed at him this time. The kunoichi slammed her fist into the top of Kiba's head leaving him sprawled in the middle of the road as she raised it to hammer the Inuzuka again. Naruto grabbed her wrist as she was about to bring it down. "I should let her pummel you, dog breath, but I'm only saving you today because I want that pleasure for myself. You better hope we don't cross paths in the exams because I'll show you who the real alpha is around here." Shino walked forward before giving the blonde a small bow of his head. "I apologize for my teammate Naruto, the excitement is getting to his head." Naruto stopped glaring at Kiba to take in the tall boy. "It's no problem. What's your name?" The boy tilted his head down as sunlight reflected off his lenses and his shoulders hunched slightly. "My name is Shino and it is illogical to forget your comrades' names. You should not do this because it can cause resentment. And teamwork has been known to suffer because of resentment. It does not make sense to do this because it can affect missions and because of that a comrade could die." "Creepy. Right, sorry Shino, I won't forget it in the future, and don't apologize for your teammate, let him grovel for it when I stomp his ass in." Naruto turned his attention to the girl with white eyes giving Kiba a worried look. She must like him or something. "Hey I don't know your name either." The girl turned bright red when he realized he was talking to her as she began to fiddle with her index fingers. My name is Hyuga Hinata, it's ni nice dt to Naruto watched as the girl collapsed. Hey Hinata, are you alright? Hinata? Are you sick or something, Hinata?" Shino came forward and picked her up. "It appears that we are about to leave, it would be logical to meet up with our sensei. We should do this because..." Shino looked around and saw that it was just him, his two unconscious teammates, and Akamaru. Looking at the dog, the strange boy said, "It is rude to ignore a comrade, you should not do that because..." Naruto, Sai, and Sakura met up with their sensei just as Rin went to the front of the group. "Alright everyone, I'm Rin and I'll be the Hokage's representative on this trip. It will take 3 days to get to Suna and you'll have 2 days before it starts. I shouldn't need to remind you to not cause trouble or international incidents." She paused and her eyes lingered on Team 7. "We will draw straws to see who will keep watch, but if anyone attacks us, well, they're probably pretty stupid. Anyway, I've wasted enough time. If you can't keep up you should just turn back, now move out." That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.